Because you've got powerful legs. How'd you get the physique? Was it gym or how'd you get the physique?
I've always been...
She's actually not got powerful legs. Do you shower in your dressing room? Do you have a shower on the day of a fight or not? Tell us about the tattoos.
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
But then I've got the Phoenix.
Hey, prick.
So I'll take it from Bob every day of the week.
Absolute disgrace.
I'm sure no one will mind.
Move him out of here, Darren.
Ricky Hatton didn't go over for his fighter because he risked getting abducted and sold into sexual
I never said that.
Both have been rape victims. I'm not watching Frank Buglioni live on Saturday night. You're out of your mind.
Jesus Christ, get yourself a life.
He's actually a priest.
Yeah.
It's because his brother John Fury eye gouged him.
What have I told you all this time? He's going to end up sucked out, fucked out, looking for a handout.
Boxing nutters messenger group. I'm gonna be the king.
J-Pump, you know what I'm saying?
Welcome, folks, to episode number 624 of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse, caught every Sunday at 8 o'clock in the UK, 12 noon Pacific time in the US. And you can also check us at patreon.com/Boxing Asylum for more of the fun and to get in on the Nutters group, which, pretty much everyone stays in there. We have a good time. It's a good group of guys and gal. Single gal, Miss Holly, the queen of the Boxing Asylum. Hats off to each and every one of you who has been in there and stays in there. And even those who leave, like Yimmy, we love you still. But you folks want to get in on that and some of the other goodies that come with it, you should check us out again at patreon.com/Boxing Asylum. So here for number 624, we're going to kick it off with a review of Jake Paul against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And it was something, I guess. Chavez really didn't pull the trigger until the 9th round, and I think he won the 9th and the 10th, and he backed Paul up pretty well, but Paul pretty much controlled the fight with his jabs, some right hands, a little bit of body work in there. He's getting a little bit more comfortable with the left hook. I mean, I see development, but this is somehow going to move him up into the rankings and push him towards the possibility of a title shot. That's the title of today's episode, Jake Paul, and just closer to a title shot, there is no God. But it was a big event. There were some good fights on there, but as far as Paul and Chavez go, Justin, I don't know what Chavez was doing in there. I guess he decided to try at some point in time, but I mean, he's just washed beyond washed. He's been fighting washed up MMA fighters and losing to some, winning against some, and kind of doing a Jake Paul thing. Being a former world champion, but he was just overwhelmed by this guy. But I don't know. Did you see some holes in Paul's game, Justin? I always think someone with that kind of fighting with that style who doesn't necessarily know what they're doing, wide stance, left hand down, a couple of jabs, and you can usually back them straight up and force them out of their rhythm. And I thought I saw Chavez do it a few times.
The holes in his game are enormous. He's fighting these guys. Bottom line, I mean, he's still, will he ever? I think. We all know, I guarantee you this, before it's all said and done, he'll get a title shot. He's going to get one. It's going to be they're going to try to make a massive event out of it. It might be versus the weakest guy they can find, but they're going to get him a title shot. The governing bodies know how much money it is. He's going to get one. He is what he is. He's a club level guy that he's not fighting anybody. And if anybody tuned into this fight last night and thought that Chavez had a prayer or a chance in hell to win this fight. I never thought in a million years that Chavez was going to do anything. Chavez hasn't taken this sport seriously in 10, 15 years. He doesn't care. He's there. Obviously, everybody's there for the money, but he is literally there for the money. He got himself in the best shape he could because God knows what he looked like before he even started training for this. He doesn't care. He doesn't have any desire. He's not going to. Chavez was a pressure fighter with some ability when he was good, but he wasn't incredible when he was at his peak. It's not like Chavez was some kind of animal that didn't take the sport seriously, but he had all this incredible talent. He was a decent fighter who had a good motor. Jake Paul, it's Jake Paul. He does what he does. I will give Jake Paul credit for this. The man, you can tell he works. You can tell he tries. You can tell that he gets in pretty good shape, that he tries to take it serious. I mean, that's more than half the people that are in boxing right now. So I'll give him that. He's trying. But I watched after about 7 or 8 rounds. Like I said, this morning I watched it. I was so freaking tired. I just watched the rest of it in the corner while I watched old Judge Mathis reruns on YouTube. So that's how I enjoyed this fight. This was just nobody could thought this was going to be anything. I know he had all his contingent. That's just because of his dad. And nobody thought he was going to chance to win this. Paul, I will leave you with this. He's going to get a title shot. No matter what we think, no matter what we believe, it doesn't matter what we think. He's going to get it one way or another. We all just going to have to live with it. Pray to God he don't get it. He won't win. But if they get him versus the right guy, he does have enough about him. He could make something happen. He could win because there's weak champions everywhere. Right now, I mean, Zerto, he's not going to beat Zerto. Even though Zerto looked like shit, we get to that in a minute. He's not going to beat him. Badu Jack? Fuck, Badu Jack. You don't know. Badu Jack gets screwed so much. You can see him beating Badu Jack just because. Who knows? But I don't. He's not going to beat Zerto, but he's going to get a title shot. It's just a matter of time.
I think you're right. I don't know how that'll go. I mean, you'd think he's probably get stopped, but yeah, maybe no guarantees on that one. I'll tell you, it's interesting though, Des. I know you didn't watch the fight, but one of the only things I can say positive about Jake Paul is that he does come in good shape for whatever it is. He does give his best effort, and he's making the most out of not having any boxing background at all and kind of digging it out of the dirt. Whereas Chavez Jr. is the exact opposite. He had access to everything he could have wanted to become, one of the best boxers, the best boxer that he could be, and he kind of fucked it all off at the end of the day. So it's an interesting dynamic, but it's really offensive to the sport, I guess, and the fact that Jake Paul. I mean, we could talk about 800 reasons why real boxing fans don't like him. But Chavez, it's like so bad in that sense, but also at the same time with Chavez Jr. embarrassing the family and the family name at the same time, like kind of not a good night for like real boxing, was it?
I'm trying to be.
This was the highest gate ever at the Honda Center for a boxing event too. The people come out to see it.
Yeah, but I'm trying to be really balanced with this. So I'm trying to step out of the boots I've walked in all my life. This is boxing, but it's a different type of boxing, right? It's like boxing is the vehicle, but the people that are tuning in are not boxing fans, I don't think. They're Jake Paul fans. He has a pull outside of boxing, and he's bringing that into boxing. I don't quite know why he wants boxing to be his vehicle, but he does. He must get something out of the sport at a level. I've seen Jake Paul box 3 times. You can't count the Mike Tyson one. I saw him against Tommy Fury, and I saw him earlier on in his career. And unless he's dramatically improved, unless he's got significantly better, I don't think Jake Paul would win an area title in the amateurs, like the Northeast Divs or the Southeast Divisional Championships. I don't think he would win that. It doesn't look like he's got the right motor skills. He's got the right coordination. It doesn't look like he's built for it. But this isn't conventional boxing. This is a hybrid of boxing. This is like something
way closer to like
become.
it's like somewhere like around like white collar misfits boxing, right? It's
yeah. I mean, like, but I've got to say, years ago, I had to go to one of these white collar things. I had to go. I couldn't get out of it, and I sat there and I thought, what the bleeding hell am I doing here? I could do without all this fanny. It ain't for me. These ain't boxers, and that ain't boxing. But it's a version of. And I put the same. I put Jake Paul and what he does in the same bracket. And I don't like the fiddle. He's picking people like Chavez, who even at his best was a lazy bastard, who was ill-disciplined, who was a bit of a crackerjack, even at his best.
He was a weight bully, and when we've seen what happens to him when he can't be a weight bully, going all the way back to the Fanfara fight, you know, and if there's anything Paul had over him, he was definitely the naturally bigger man.
And what was Fanfara? 2014?
Oh, it had to be somewhere back around there, because it was after the Martinez fight, because it was at 168 pounds where it was supposed to be, but then he couldn't make the weight. I think they moved it to like 172 or something. Fanfara beat the shit out of him.
So this kid he was come a tumble over 10 years ago, and this is the bit I don't like, and I'm a little bit. And I can imagine people listening to me right now might say, no, you've not got the hang of this. And I get it. I don't get the hang of this. But for me, if you're going to be a boxer, go and become a boxer then. Go and do what boxers do, which is get the training right, get the matchmaking right, progress through the rankings, go and win yourself a title, an area belt, go and win yourself a regional belt, go and put yourself in the top 50, the top 30, the top 20, the top 10. I kind of get the impression this isn't going to go like that. And I'm all for people having a go, but I get the impression, and what Jake Paul's going to do is he's going to manipulate the rankings. He's going to bring a huge crowd, huge finance. He's going to put on spectacular shows. He's going to have a fantastic network deal. And they're probably going to shoehorn him in somewhere where he can pick up a title. And it kind of fuses professional boxing to what we see in the WWE, where belts are put on people because of their popularity, because of their profile.
Yeah.
And that's what so when I talk like this, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not some old curmudgeon that don't see what's happening here. I do, but it just ain't for me, Matty. Like, but I get it's for a lot of people, and good luck to you. It ain't for me though. But there's a lot of positives to what Jake Paul does. He pays people on time. He pays people really well. He puts on fantastic shows. And I looked at that undercard last night, and it looked like a really solid undercard, right? A really solid undercard, better than a lot of the stuff we see on a regular basis. But it's a Jake Paul thing that I don't like, because I feel it's a little bit of a swindle. I think we're having the wool pulled over our eyes, and that's when I get off the ride and go, that's not for me.
I can get that position. It's the idea that he's going for a title shot is where it kind of gets under people's skin. And it's the idea that, like, you know, Jake Paul just wants to do his thing and do his 8-10 rounders against washed ups and has-beens and never were's. Okay, correct. That's fine. But when you get into the idea that we're talking about, you know, the possibility of Jake Paul against, you know, 3-division world champion Badu Jack. Like, really? We're kind of creeping up something there. And it's, and I don't know. The problem, I guess, is, Justin, is, I mean, we have to watch it for ourselves, but if we see Jake Paul beat a Badu Jack, do we know nothing about boxing, or are we watching a scam in action right in front of us if that were to happen? Like, because you would think a 50-year-old Badu Jack shouldn't lose to Jake Paul.
But I think I said a minute ago, you never know with Badu Jack. if you're going to beat any of them, he's the guy you would beat just because he can be beaten with activity sometimes. You're right. If he somehow beat Badu Jack, then he's earned his. That's your cred. Or the street, however you want to work. That means okay, you're in. But God, I hope it don't come to that. But it's coming. I
feel like we'll see. I feel like if we see it happen, it's going to look crooked as it's happening, right? Like that's what worries
I don't think
me.
He's not. We saw Badu Jack versus was it McCollican or whoever he fought last fight.
McCallion, yeah.
Badu Jack is still in there. Badu Jack is still who he was. I mean, he's not as good, but Badu Jack is still a good fighter. We saw that he didn't lose a step. Like he's not like oh, he's there for the taking, and he looked shit in his last 3 fights, and he's been knocked down 5 times. So this could be the guy that Paul could take advantage of an injury, wounded. But Badu Jack's got a rematch anyway, so that wouldn't happen. I would think Paul's going to fight another. I wouldn't know if he's going to get a world title fight next, but it does make you wonder though. Who was the co-main event? Think about it. Zurdo.
Yeah.
That it's coming. He's the co-main event. He's fighting at cruiserweight. They've got all the elements. I beat your Mexican warrior in Chavez. Can Zurdo get revenge? There is literally 19,000 different WWE style things they can work with this promotion. I'm not going to be surprised if we don't see Gilberto Ramirez versus Jake Paul for the cruiserweight title on pay-per-view next, because it's got so many elements to set up. I'm 90% sure we're going to see that next. I'm that high on it. I really believe we're going to see it.
That's frightening to think about. It's very, very frightening to think about. It's just, I mean, they're all chasing the money here, and I think what it comes down to it. And if you look at, the route that Jake Paul is taking to getting ranked by these sanctioning bodies, and it's just all crooked. And it's like it just kind of is a microcosm of everything that we know is wrong with the way the sanctioning bodies operate and things like that. Like they have no cause to believe that Jake Paul is going to be a competitive cruiserweight at the championship level, but they're 2.5-3%, whatever it is that they get for their sanctioning. Well, if it's off of a $10 million purse, that's a hell of a lot better chunk than off of $1 million purse, or possibly less. You never know with some of these fights and where the purse bids end up at. But so, I mean, it's all, I don't know, that's where it comes down to where it's crooked. It's just like it is a huge cash grab at the end of the day, and Jake Paul has the kind of audience to make that happen. And it's just, I'll sum up how ridiculous this all is in something that Paul said after the fight, Des, and I got to paraphrase it, but they asked him who he wanted next, and he said maybe Ramirez, Jack, Joshua, or Gervonta Davis. What in the fuck? You just covered 120 pounds in 4 fighters there.
Yeah.
Like, what in the flying fuck?
Yeah.
Joshua would kill him.
Literally.
Joshua might actually legitimately kill him, like really hurt him. That would be, but I'll give Jake Paul this. I think he would fight him.
He would.
I think he would come to London. I think he would come to London and he would fight him.
Yeah, he'd make $10 million on it.
He would do it in a heartbeat, and Joshua would really hurt him.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think is more likely on that though, Des? That he fights a cruiserweight champion, a former heavyweight champion, or has an exhibition with a lightweight?
No, I don't think that I don't think the tank thing works. I think Zurdo's live. Zurdo's a really good fighter. Jack's at the other end of his career now, and has been a lame duck for a few years, and he's been like sort of 1 fight a year, and he's got 1 foot in retirement. So for a winnable fight of the guys you just mentioned, Jack's the most winnable. But I think the one that sells, and the one that works out the best and suits all parties, it might even be AJ. Not because it's a fight he wins, not because it's a fight that he can win, but it's a fight he can lose. He can be forgiven for being by AJ. The money would be astronomical, phenomenal. AJ's dipped his toe in his exhibition stuff before when he fought on Ngannou. They're not adverse to that. And looking at the heavyweight landscape for a moment, if we just come away from Jake Paul, where does AJ go in real boxing? You know, like if we're to assume that Usyk and Dubois are where they are, and you've got Parker making a lot of noise, and you've got Moses Atoma coming up through British boxing, and you've got Fabio Wardley making a lot of noise, I don't think you put Anthony Joshua in with Moses or Fabio or Joe Parker or even Alexander Usyk again. I don't think AJ's the type of kid that wants to go back in with Daniel Dubois. So
It's
if you
Wilder.
put,
It's Wilder.
well, yeah, I agreed. But if you're going to put something like, I mean, what's the numbers? If you're going to put 7 figures on the table to fight Jake Paul, I think that's something that Anthony Joshua would consider. I think certainly the people around him would consider it too.
I don't think it's 7 figures. I think it's 8 figures, and that's that's the problem with the sport. How the hell could anybody pay enough money to fill up a stadium and sell enough pay-per-views to get 2 guys 8-figure purses in an event like that? It's just like.
But can you see the pull though, guys? Can you see the allure of it? If you're sitting down around a table going, we've had a career, we've earned more money than we can spend in 5 lifetimes. What do we do next? Well, you've got the Wilder fight. Now, okay, you can hang around and put your hat in the name for the winner or the loser of Dubois and Usyk. Okay. Or we could fight a pup in Jake Paul and get 7/8 figures. Right.
You're right, Joshua. Look how much money he made beating Ngannou, who he knew he was going to destroy. You couldn't blame Joshua for saying, "Yeah, I'll take $20 million and knock this guy out in about 2 rounds." Well, I think if we were all in Joshua's situation, Joshua has done all that he wanted to accomplish realistically. Can you? Why would
just to be clear, Justin? Just to be clear, we're not saying that's what we want, but we're stepping out of the realm. Yeah, we're stepping out of the realms of conventional boxing and going, this is the road it could go down.
No, we're not. Yeah, you're right. We're not saying we want it. We just know where it's going, and we just know what the people are paying for right now. They would pay out the ass to go watch Joshua vs. Paul, and there's nobody in the world that's going to sit there and look at Anthony Joshua and say, "Man, you shouldn't take that money." Why? If I'm Joshua, you damn right. Give me $20 million. I don't even have to fully train for this fight. I'll start a 2-week camp, and I'll destroy Jake Paul, make $20 million, move on. What? You can't blame him.
And Jake
I
Paul,
would take it.
If Jake Paul specializes in anything, it's not putting on boxing events. It's putting on a spectacle.
Yes.
And this would be a fucking spectacle. I don't know. I respect him for the way he pays fighters, the way that he treats fighters and building up these cards. But at the same time, like, I get this weird feeling that something involving a Jake Paul fight is like going to be a huge nail in the coffin for boxing.
Well, you're right.
If not the Tyson fight already,
You're right. Paul is, if you just look at him in the vacuum of, if he was just a boxing promoter, he's getting the job done better than, as far as, like you said, fighters, absolutely. I think, kind of want to fight. People want to fight for him because they know you're going to get paid. You get taken care of. From that aspect of it, yes, you're getting. I mean, Jake Paul has done a really good job. I mean, as far as women's boxing, he has done a good job with all that. I think me and Dez and you agree, though. Man, don't get in the ring though. We don't care about all that shit. But we're beating the shit out of this dead horse though, because Jake Paul is. The man shows up, and anybody that's willing to get in the ring, I don't care who you're going against, you always get credit for that. If you're willing to train and throw your body out there, I'm going to give anybody credit. I might not like you as a person. I might not like all that comes with you. But I'm going to be right there saying, hey, I'm going to give the man his credit. He's in shape. He tries. He's getting the best out of what he does. We might not love the little sideshow and all the little extra shit. And like you said, the one-day ripple effects of Jake Paul, Riyadh season, it's all coming hard one day. Mark my words, all this is going to come hard one day. I don't know when, but all this shit we've seen the last couple of years is all going to come hit boxing. And guess what boxing will do? It'll get up, shake that shit off, and keep moving down the line like it always has. And then we'll still keep moving with it.
I feel like I'm going to be just waking up at 4 a.m. and watching cards from Japan for the rest of my life. I feel like that's where it's going to end up. It's just going to end up being a Japanese thing because they're the only ones that can do it without a complete load of fuckery about it. But yeah, there we go. There's our half hour on Jake Paul. Get them clicks. Now to the rest of the boxing on there. Gilberto Ramirez with a tougher than expected fight against an aging Uniel Doricos, forced to go the full 12 rounds. And I'd say it was pretty close to probably an even fight through 8 or 9. And then I thought Ramirez pulled away from there, but pretty entertaining. A few good exchanges in there. Some hard shots landed. Quality cruiserweight fight. But at the end of the day, Justin, it's hard to kind of figure out where Ramirez is on that because it's really tough to judge where Doricos is, just a little bit of inactivity, lower level of competition for a handful of years here. But, I mean, Ramirez did what he had to do, and he won cleanly, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, Doricos hasn't been relevant since the cruiserweight tournament. He's well past it. I mean, well past it. But you're right. The first 6-7 rounds, Doricos was actually landing way more than I thought he would ever land. Probably an embarrassing amount of punches he was landing on Ramirez because Ramirez is known for being really good defensively. Doricos landed way more than you would thought he would have landed. I don't think he ever hurt Ramirez, but he got his attention. And I think that's why the fight kind of slowed down a little bit because Zurdo kind of, oh, shit. That kind of moment. He was getting hit with shit he probably didn't think he was going to do. Zurdo, he is what he is. That was his kind of fight, though. We all know what he is. He's never in amazingly exciting fights.
But they're never really shitty either. They're just
They're just like, okay, well, that was okay. Yeah, you're right. Never horrible, but never getting you off your seat either. And he honestly, realistically, on that stage, like you said, all the people that were watching, all the money spent, he should have fucking blasted Doricos. He really should have. He should have. He's got so much more ability, so much more of everything. I'll give Doricos this. He earned another paycheck. He's going to get another fight. He might even get another title shot pretty soon because he was live. He was I really thought they were going to about drag his dead body out there. That's what was left of Doricos.
Yeah. And then
I did not think
started landing right hands, and you're like, oh,
I didn't think Doricos was going to be I didn't think he was going to be relevant at all. I don't think he was going to be that great. But Doricos had a lot more left than I thought he did. I really thought that he was done.
He was having trouble with the pace. He was having some trouble with the pace, though. Which is why,
like you said, he's been fighting. Doricos hasn't fought anybody good in a while, so I think maybe that hurt him.
And that's why he was going low, and they ended up taking a point. Like I just thought he just needed a break, and he's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna hit this guy in the groin 3 times and see what happens. Yeah, because
Ramirez is not a guy that you could fight the people he has for the last few years, and all of a sudden step in and be able to keep up with that kind of level. But if this had been if Doricos had come in a little bit fresher and off some better opposition, he could have really worked something a little bit more last night.
Yeah, he didn't look a 39-year-old fighter, at least until, the last third of the fight, in my opinion. I was rather impressed with the way that he looked. But they're talking about Zurdo against Opetaia. And I don't know, Des, do you think that Ramirez is going to continue to kind of surprise us with what he's doing at cruiserweight, or do you think that you can kind of decipher how he's been successful at cruiserweight and come to the conclusion that Opetaia is not the one he's going to be taken down?
Matty, was you talking to me then? So I had
Sure
a bit of a
was.
nightmare. I'm sorry, mate. I had a bit of a nightmare with my Wi-Fi, and then my phone went. Right. Sorry, mate. Can you repeat that question? Was it about Zerdo and how he's going to navigate his way
Yeah,
for the rest of his
do you
cruiserweight
think?
division?
Yeah, like he's done well, but I mean, can you kind of see the way they've navigated him, and do you believe that Opetaia is just too much probably for him?
No, I don't think Opetaia is too much for him. I think it's a really good fight. I like Zerdo. I think Zerdo's a real talent. I think Zerdo's got a fantastically high ceiling talent-wise. I think he comes with a really good team. I think he'll be. Look, Opetaia's had one elite win, two if you count the pair of them, when he beat Bradis. I think Zerdo will be another elite win for Opetaia. If Opetaia's going to go up to heavyweight, I think he should clean out cruiserweight. It should be too premature with that. So I think the Opetaia and Zerdo fight should be something we should demand. I think we should expect it. I think Opetaia should be looking for it, and so should Zerdo. Do I think Zerdo beats Opetaia? I'd make Opetaia favourite going in, but I've got to tell you, it would be a hard fight for Opetaia because Zerdo's a very skilled, very talented kid who's navigated his way through three weight classes.
He's got the best feet of anyone that I think Opetaia would have fought if they get in the ring. Like the one thing, like I know you weren't able to catch much of what was going on here, but the one thing that Ramirez does pretty well, and he got better with it after the Bivol loss, probably feeling so embarrassed, is he's a lot better at letting loose a combination and cutting a really nice tight angle around his opponent and just leaving him looking at his backside as he gets away from him. He's good with the feet.
He's very good with his feet. And the Bivol loss, remember Bivol's beaten Baturbia and he's beaten Canelo. Bivol's beaten two monsters in boxing, so I wouldn't hold that against Zerdo. I think that's a world-class loss that can be forgiven. I don't think Opetaia is the same fighter Bivol is. I think Opetaia brings different challenges though, and I think Opetaia will be a very, very hard fight for Zerdo. But I think that's the best fight in cruiserweight boxing at the minute. I think it's one of the best fights in boxing if you're a boxing fan, because if you're a boxing fan, you will know how accomplished Zerdo is. And if the right Zerdo turns up with the right team, he's a very, very good fighter. And I think he'd pose a huge challenge for Opetaia. I'm not saying it'd be Opetaia's best win, because Opetaia's beaten Bradis, and Bradis was an elite fighter too. And Opetaia has got an elite win on him to his record. But I think this will be another elite opponent. And if he beats Zerdo, it's an elite win. It's a really good fight. And it's the one I'd be looking forward to. I've been calling for this a long time. I think Zerdo and Opetaia is one of the biggest, most intriguing fights in boxing.
Yeah, I think I can agree. I feel like at the end of the day, as skilled as Zerdo is, the fact that no matter how well he has looked at cruiserweight, he is still someone who started his career at 168 pounds, who is coming up against a big, stout son of a bitch punching a southpaw. I mean,
yeah. You'd have to fancy Opetaia going in, but we've been watching boxing for a long time, and we know that someone with very good motor skills, good feet, good hands, if you can switch the big strong puncher off in the first four rounds, or you can still be there in the second half of the fight, offering something. That can always change. So I'm not saying I think Zerdo beats Opetaia, but I think it's a very, very intriguing fight. And it would show us, if Opetaia comes through that fight, it would show us a new facet to Opetaia's game, because Zerdo offers different challenges.
Yeah, it would definitely be a different look than anything Opetaia has had at this point so far. And but Justin,
and sorry, Matty, can I make
Sure.
the point? There's so much disparity between Opetaia's opponents. It's either area level kids or elite kids, and there don't seem to be nothing in between. I think Zerdo's much more than something in between, but it would give Opetaia a second elite win. And I think that's probably what I'm looking for, to have complete confidence in Opetaia.
Yeah, he's neither. But sometimes, here's the tough thing though, Justin, is sometimes you're so far above what the second tier of the division really is that you don't get credit for what you've done. And Opetaia beat Bradis twice, which, you got to give him credit. Bradis, fantastic fighter. But he doesn't seem to get credit for basically just battering all of these Commonwealth cruiserweights around the ring. But I mean, these guys very well could be their, the second tier of fighters, and Opetaia could just be that far ahead of them. But we don't know because the Jordan Thompsons of the world aren't fighting the rest of Opetaia's victims, right?
Well, I agree with you on that point, but also he fought like the 5th-rated French cruiserweight a couple fights ago. It's not that you're right. You can say that. I mean, I give him credit because he's beating who they tell him to fight, and you can't knock him for that. But these guys are like he's not even fighting like the top 1 or 2 guys. They're guys like 5th-rated French fighter, some guy they brought over from Russia nobody's ever heard of. These are just so no-name guys.
Yeah.
But the cruiserweight is not that deep either, though. So you got to kind of take it one way or the other. But Opetaia is one of these guys. Dez just said it. It's time now. They're either hiding something. If he does not fight a unification in his next fight or two, there's something they're not telling us because there's no excuse for it. He's had 3 or 4 as easy as you can get defenses. He's getting all the money in his hometown. If he doesn't come out and fight, there's something we're not getting because there's no excuse for it. There's nothing they can say, oh, well, he's got to do this. He's got to do that. Well, you have to fight your mandatory, but he's fought like 5 in a row. So he can't say that's the excuse anymore. He has to either do it or not do it. But like Des said, if he goes out and beats Zerto, then he can move up if he wants to because that really will be the last of what he can do at cruiserweight. There is nobody else.
Well, I think it's pretty face forward. What his issue is, as mentioned in the chat, is if you look at the Bradis fights, and those are the ones you have to look to because no one else extends this guy really past the 7th or 8th round. When you get in that last third of the fight, he was blowing a bit. Like that seems to be the concern. It's a gas tank issue, and
Zerto will get him there. Zerto will take him that 12.
Maybe. Zerto can take a punch like a motherfucker, but Opetaia bangs, man. I mean,
I know Opetaia does, but it's like Zerto. If he could go out there and just lay Zerto out, that is one hellacious accomplishment. Regardless of what you think about Zerto Ramirez and how he fights and everything we've said, he's a damn good cruiserweight, a damn good fighter, period. So if Opetaia can go out there and blitz him, then that's just what it is. But we'll see. I'm going to be surprised if Opetaia fights Zerto next. I think that's set up front. I already told you where I think Zerto's going. But if he doesn't fight him, then he can't unify with Jack because he has to fight his rematch. Who's the 4th champion? I always forget that guy's name.
So you got Badu. It's Badu Jack. One of them holds 2 belts, don't they?
So that's what I'm saying. So he's kind of stuck right now for unification. It's either Zerto or he has to wait on Jack. So he's just kind of stuck right now. And there's not like, oh, he can fight this top guy. Knowing how Opetaia's career has gone recently, we're probably going to see him in Australia versus Doricos.
God, that would be sad.
And also, Matty, what I would say is, and I know if you're in America, our domestic titles might all blur into one, but a lot of you said he's bashing up Commonwealth champions and rated guys, probably more somewhere between English level and area level. Guys like Ellis Zorro and Jordan Thompson, they're sort of English title guys, which, and some of the guys he's boxed, the last kid he boxed and the one before that, they don't really tell us much. So other than Jack Massey, I think that the level has been Bradis, then it's quite significant to Jack Massey, and everyone else is under Jack Massey. So there's nothing in the middle. I put Bradis as an elite fighter. And I think Zerto could be somewhere near Bradis. But it'd be nice to see how Opetaia deals with Zerto. And it'd be nice to see Opetaia in the second half of the fight against a live dog who's got really good hands and feet and who knows how to navigate round 12 rounds like Zerdo does. That's all I'm asking, because I've seen Opetaia fade a little bit in them championship rounds when he's not having it his own way. This is a guy that, he's a very, very good fighter. He's a very strong kid. He's a big puncher. But I just want to see him in a second half or a final third against a really good kid with high motor skills like Zerdo. I think Opetaia is a favourite going in, but I think it would be a really intriguing fight for so many reasons.
Des, you agree with me? A prime Bradis knocks out Zerdo Ramirez, in my opinion.
I think Bradis is brilliant.
The Bradis that fought Usyk knocks out Zerdo Ramirez, and people don't forget Opetaia beat him, but that was a little over it, past it a little bit, Bradis, and it was still two really hard fights.
Bradis broke
the
his jaw.
The Usyk Bradis is a different beast compared, in my opinion. But I mean, we can say that about a lot of fighters, though. But I just think a good Bradis knocks out Ramirez.
So, Justin, to expand on that, and I know we can't. We're just talking as mates. I think Usyk. If it wasn't for Usyk, maybe Bradis would have been Usyk, because Bradis is an elite fighter that was dominating everyone at cruiser. He came into Usyk, who's a generational great. Then Usyk beats Bradis on a close one, goes on to win that tournament, goes up to heavyweight, beats them all. But who's to say an undisputed cruiserweight champion in Bradis wouldn't have gone up to heavyweight and ain't got the motor skills to beat an Anthony Joshua?
Bradis, I mean, people always forget that.
It's a fair...
Because Bradis gave Usyk one hellacious fight.
Possibly the toughest fight of his entire career.
Really hard fight. And he just, like we said, you just said, Usyk is one of these guys, he's generational. Even your best that you could possibly fight is usually not going to be enough versus those guys.
Yeah, I've always thought that Usyk stopped Bradis being Usyk, if that makes sense. And I think Bradis was on line to be going up to heavyweight, and not so much Tyson Fury because he's got a different set of skills and a size. But I think there'd be an awful lot of guys around the heavyweight division that would have been a really hard. Bradis would have been a really hard fight for.
Bradis fought like to a couple of heavyweight fights. Remember, he would go up a little bit and then go back down every blue moon. I don't remember who he fought, but I know he fought one or two heavyweight fights because he would kind of dance a little bit. Did go up a little bit to fight somebody. I'll never forget who that dude was. Oh, he fought Char.
Yeah,
he beat Char. He beat Char in Russia.
Mood.
And nobody beats. So it was.
I'll tell you what, Char is a little bit of an underrated fighter, and he had trouble getting the fights and stuff like that. But if you remember, I think it was the last fight of Vitali's career. Like, I can't remember how it ended ultimately, but he was giving Vitali fucking fits the first few rounds of that fight. Like, he really fucking was. Char, not a great fighter, but a bit of an underrated fighter, in my opinion. Real quick, I want to hit on Joshua Williams says, oops. Josh, he says, love the pod. What are your early thoughts on Norman Jr. versus Haney? And just because I popped up and I had thought about it when I saw it was apparently signed earlier today, just my initial thoughts on it is if Haney is really that much of a sucker for a left hook after what we've been seeing with Norman and that incredible stoppage over Sasaki, that's a weapon, and that's going to be really hard for him. So, I mean, I can see Haney moving to his own left all night long, trying to get away from that left hook, and maybe he'll be successful, or maybe Norman finds a home for the right hand. I just think that Haney's if he doesn't correct that problem, he's gonna put himself in a position of being a very predictable fighter, I think, and Norman, that will get taken advantage of.
My opinion is Norman's got too much dog for him than Haney. I think Norman will want that fight more than Haney as everyone. Norman, I know where Norman's from in Georgia. Ain't the best area. He's got a lot of fight in him. He's got that. That Haney does not want that. Ain't no way Haney's going to try to fight that. He don't want nothing to do with Norman Jr. I promise you. He just want nothing to do with that fight.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes more difficult for Haney to have a size advantage over people with his mass rehydration. It's gonna some of the things he did is gonna be taken off the table, and he was doing all of that with and having these size advantages and not knocking people out either. It's just heft. He's got a really good jab with some body weight behind it, but yeah, rough fight. Des, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the one that said that I think Boots will move up rather than fight Norman because I think Norman's too live. I think he's a really good kid. In fact, when the year started, we was all talking about Keyshawn, Mason, Osnays, Moses, Andy Cruz. They're going to be our prospects, our standouts coming into 2025. But this year alone, I've seen 3 standout kids. One was Bruce Carrington, the other's Floyd Schofield, and the other one was Brian Norman. I think Brian Norman's a really good fighter, and I think that's the wrong fight for Devin Haney.
Yeah, and we'll use that as a segue. But Floyd Schofield doing in one round what Raymond Muratalla and William Zepeda couldn't do over 30 some odd rounds, and stopping Tevin Farmer. I mean, just working around him, feinting him into a right hand that Farmer never recovered from. He should have hung out on the canvas a bit, got his faculties back. That was a mistake. He knows better, and he got up and he just got whomped around. He hit the canvas again, and then the ref decided to call it. Is Schofield was unloading on him. But a few months ago, Des, when they pulled Schofield out against Shakur Stevenson, and we can get into the whys, whats, bullshit, and all that another day. But I was really disappointed because Shakur is an incredible fighter, an incredible talent. I thought, Des, that Schofield had a lot of answers for what he brings to the ring. And last night, I think, proved to some people maybe why I was so upset that Schofield didn't find that chance against Stevenson, because he was not dead in that fight by any stretch.
Yeah, I remember you telling me how much you really fancied Floyd Schofield in this Shakur fight. I remember you speaking highly of him. Something else we said in this pod as well, after the Zepeda fights, we didn't want Tevin to be thrown into some of these super talents at lightweight, and that's pretty much what has happened. Last night, what Schofield done was brilliant. You touched on it there. He walked him into that right hand. And if you're a southpaw, there's a way to fight. And if you're fighting southpaw, there's a way to fight. And I'm now convinced that Floyd Schofield's ring IQ is up there with the best of them. You've not got to show him how to deal with southpaws and how to set a tone. And there's a special way of doing this. And a lot of people would find their way into a fight. And it's normally with single shots, and it's keeping distance, it's being risk averse. Well, everything I just said there, Schofield was the opposite. He was proactive. He doubled up his shots. He kept feinting to draw Farmer out. And you said it there, he was walking him around. And it was brilliant to see it. If anyone gets a chance to watch that first knockdown, it was so educated. It was something like Ray Leonard would do. He was walking him around. And just as they was all into this rhythm and routine, Schofield stopped and broke it and stepped across Farmer. And he used Farmer's lead right hand to shield his backhand that he threw. It's very hard to explain, but he stepped across Farmer, and as he stepped, he threw. And as soon as his lead foot touched down, he came around the corner with a right hand, and it was the ones you don't see that hurt the most. And Farmer just couldn't see it. It was so quick. It was so cute. And after that, the fight was over. Farmer done well to survive that. And then the second one, and then by the time we got to the third one, the referee done him a favour. But Schofield showed me in such a short space of time his ring generalship, his ring IQ, and he's a very, very intelligent fighter in terms of he knows how to fight southpaws and seasoned southpaws that really know how to operate and survive in world-class company. It was a really good performance from Floyd Schofield last night. Very, very impressive.
Yeah, and Justin, hopefully they get him into the makes at 135 pounds here. Maybe he doesn't necessarily because how the weird circumstances when he dropped out of that Stevenson fight. It was absolutely bizarre. He was over there in the Middle East ready to go, and then midweek, what the fuck ever. I don't know, but I could see him fighting the loser of Shakur Stevenson and Williams Zepeda. And I just want him to be in the mix at this point in time because I think Schofield, after such dominating performance over a guy who's been given everyone fits, he deserves to be in the conversation.
I thought he would win. I was kind of surprised that he just blitzed Farmer because that usually doesn't happen to Farmer where he just gets completely wiped out. But like Des said, he was just, and I always say this, we don't know what the Zepeda fights took out of Farmer, so I always kind of have to factor that in on when I think about it.
The second fight, those first 3 or 4 rounds, he was getting smacked the fuck around.
And also,
by Zepeda. He was.
This was you think about it, this was a quick turnaround for Farmer. This was a quick turnaround for Farmer.
2.5 months, give or take. Yeah.
In this day and age, after 2 hard fights with Zepeda, but that's just kind of who Farmer is. We're not surprised. I think he come out there and I think, he just caught Farmer quick. He didn't even allow Farmer to really even get a sweat going. He just kind of blitzed him and he overwhelmed Farmer. He was just too fast. Farmer just, that one shot, that was it. Sorry about that. I don't know. Dumbass right here drag racing near my house, but
I feel that, dude. I feel that.
Yeah. But Schofield, I don't think he beats a Shakur, but I don't think he beats I don't think he beats Mason. But he's going to be in all those fights, and he's earned. You're right. I think you summed it up exactly. I 100% think he would. That's where they're going to go with him. Kind of like whoever loses the pay to Shakur Stevenson. The next fight is going to be a kind of not win or go home, but you know what I'm saying. Like that's going to be if you went down a level, then Schofield's there, then that kind of win or go home type fight. And the way he looked versus Farmer, you'd have to say that because I think Shakur is going to beat Zepeda. So I would think it will be Zepeda he'll fight. I think that's who he'll fight. I don't think he's going to want I would like to see Mason versus Schofield. I think somebody suggested that. I think that would be a really good fight. I'm going to lean Mason, but I will say this. I think Mason's got more power than Schofield does. But Schofield's really sharp. That could be a really exciting fight or a really boring fight because they're both kind of the way they do things is very similar. That would be I don't know how that fight would go, honestly. I think Mason would win because I'm a big Abdullah Mason fan. I've seen him fight twice in person. I'm a big fan of his. I think he would beat Schofield, but Mason, he's got his other, he's got a lot of Schofield's just down the line right now. There's no room for him.
I'm usually one of those guys says, yeah, throw him in, but I would rather see those guys pursue their own titles and meet for a unification a few fights down the line. Like I think like somewhere around like each of their respective like 20th fights because they have close to the same number of professional fights at this point in time. And I think that's good. I hate to say let's let it marinate, but I think both guys have paths to the title and like let them be in a unification. Fuck, man, that would be a big fight. And
so what if Mason, in my opinion, is going to knock Noakes out? He's going to stop.
He's going to obliterate Noakes.
Why couldn't the next fight after he destroys Noakes fight Schofield? That's what champions do. I don't think Schofield would turn it down and say no. Get him in. I know what you're saying, but we have too many issues with boxing where they're like, if we only wait 2 more fights, if we only wait, get it. Just get it. Just be like the Japanese, how they fight. Just get it. If Mason is going to put it on Noakes and then throw him in there for Schofield. If it's a good fight, they 2 rounds. Just get it on. I like marinate, like you said, in some cases. Like I don't think top stud prospects should be fighting when they're 8-0. But at this point, I don't have no problem if they say Mason's fighting Schofield next. I have no issue with that at all. With no title on the line. Let's just get it. And if you lose, who cares? These guys are young.
Well, that's how I hope they treat it. Like a loss shouldn't fucking matter at the end of the day. Like
no, it shouldn't matter. We're the only Floyd started the culture of you can't lose or you're done. He started that. But look at everybody in the greats. Look at all these fighters. If you lose, you lose.
There's a handful of guys who retired undefeated. I mean, like with a good resume, behind them, and it's there's a reason, and it's usually you run into the wrong guy on the wrong night, kind of thing, and that's what's so amazing about it. Like why a guy like Floyd never got beat in his career. You go through his resume, and there's plenty of elite fighters, and there's some, just kind of sub-elite guys, but you go through it and you say to yourself, how did he not have an off night and take an L against one of these guys? And some folks will say Castillo, blah, 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 and I get your argument, but at the end of the day, that's why there's a reason that Mayweather is held in such high regard. But with this stack of young talent at 135. Yeah, Justin's right. I mean, as long as the public doesn't dismiss them for having a loss, let them go, Des. I like Mason and Schofield. That's a hot fight for me. I don't want to pick a winner. I can see it both. I can see it both ways for a couple of reasons.
Schofield is going to be hard work for anyone. Last night he really set a marker down, and it would be like, all right, just to bring a little bit of context to it, it would be like Moses Atoma fighting Derek Chisora and doing him in 90 seconds. We know who the winner's going to be, but it's not so much who wins, it's how they won.
Yep.
What they showed us in that period of time, that very short period of time, how they set about their work. Now, there's a few things here. Tevin Farmer is an old-fashioned, non-punching gym fighter that's come through the Philadelphian boxing circuit. He knows how to look after himself. He knows how to survive. He's a world-class survivor, operator, and he can win at world level too, right?
Let me stop you there real quick. Farmer is an interesting guy in the sense, I'll tell you what he would have been if he was fighting like 60, 70 years ago. And this dude on a boxing forum used this term to describe some of these fighters, and they called them the black code fighters. And it was because a lot of these black fighters, they couldn't get an opportunity. So they developed a style that would ultimately protect them from harm, let them keep fighting, every few weeks, collecting a paycheck. And but a guy like Farmer, 80 years ago would have been holding back that little extra bit that he had, because if he goes giving these guys too tough of a fight, he's not going to get his next paycheck. And that's where that style of a Tevin Farmer comes from. And it's no shock that he was built in the Philadelphia gyms. Anyhow,
no shock at all. And the fact that Schofield, he knew, I've got to set about him. I've got to be very proactive. I can't throw single shots. I've got to draw him in. I've got to set traps. I've got to use a lot of feints, and done all that in a very short space of time. I think it was a really impressive. And when you've got so much young talent down there at 35, it's like the stock exchange. Stock can go up and down. And last night, Schofield's stock really went up. And I don't, Mason, Cruz, Keyshawn, Schofield, and throw into that Tank, throw into that Shakur. It's a really good division. And if of all the names I just mentioned, Schofield definitely belongs in that company. Last night, he set a marker down. He beat a very good kid, a world-class operator, in a way we've never seen him get beat before. I think he's a real player at 35, Floyd Schofield.
Yeah, and we just got to see him make the fights. And luckily enough, even though he charges too much money for him, and it's not everybody's watching him, Turkey makes the fights. And some people pay for them, and some people don't. But anyhow, let's hit some more of that card too. There was a couple other fights that were on there. Let's work our way kind of back a little bit there. Let's see here. Went over that one. Holly Holm came back at 43 years of age, and she looked really well, landing her left hand against Yolanda Guadalupe Vega Ochoa, and I think she just went by Yolanda Vega. So that'll be interesting, seeing if she gets one more big fight. I mean, she's a two-sport Hall of Famer, pioneer in women's championship boxing for sure. We'll see if she can't snag a little bit at the tail end of her career of what this great wealth has been created. Let's see here. Yeah. What about Zepeda stock now? I don't know. Interesting question, Will. Maybe we'll get to that one a little bit later. But that's interesting to consider. But I mean, he's going to fight Shakur in a couple of weeks. We're going to know everything we need to know about William Zepeda in a couple of weeks. But back to this card, Raul Curiel it was a fun 4-rounder against undefeated Uruguayan Victor Ezequiel Rodriguez. You don't see the words undefeated Uruguayan very often, but here we are. And but Curiel had a little bang out with him, and then he just found a nice combination, and he must have broken an orbital bone or something because Rodriguez just collapsed just like a bag of flour, and he did get back up again, but he couldn't handle it. Ref called the fight. So Curiel looking really good there after his fight with Rocha. Rocha apparently out with injuries, so hopefully they keep Curiel active and in the mix. Didn't catch this one, but no big shock here as Rene Alvarado, talented, experienced as he is, picked up another upset victory, this time over the undefeated Victor Morales. Alvarado, I mean, that was the 51st fight of his career. And I mean, I don't know how many O's he's snagged or the one loss guys that he's beaten when he shouldn't have, but he just seems to keep on going. He's a fun guy. But I thought probably the most fun fight on this card was the fight between Avius Griffin and Julian Rodriguez. Good kind of back and forth. 8th round, Griffin dropped Rodriguez, and it looked like Rodriguez was really going to need something big in the 10th to pull it out. Turned out, I believe the cards were even at the time of the stoppage. And then he goes and he hurts Avius Griffin, drops him, and referee deems him no condition to continue. And so he was able to pick up a nice little upset victory there for Julian Rodriguez. But this fight, Justin, I think this, as I said, I'd say this was the fight of the night, a late round stoppage, a lot of those things that you look for in fights that qualify as, watch this the next day for boxing fans around the water cooler talk.
Yeah. Yeah. That fight versus Rocha was a war. That was one of my probably most enjoyable fights in a while. I really like that. So Curiel is going to be a warrior in everything he's in. That's just how he fights. I love Curiel. I'm going to enjoy watching all his stuff because it was funny. I don't know if y'all caught it, but right when for the first bell rang, the announcer said, it looks like Rodriguez was scared. Did y'all hear that? When he was like, he just didn't look right during the face-off in the middle of the ring. And I don't know if the announcers caught something I did. But he said it's the body language. He said it's just something they caught. And I don't know if y'all caught that or not. They just said it acted like he didn't want to be there. He tried. Curiel's just a tank. Just went through him. And Griffin, everybody loses sometime. I ain't worried about that. I didn't get the first 6 rounds, so I didn't really know what the scorecards were. I just was able to watch the last 6, so I like the way it ended. Because like you said, I think we had another fight that ended like that on the Mbilli card.
Yeah, on the Canadian card. Yeah, we'll
it's
get
always
to that.
when you see it's always cool when you see a guy pull it out and make something happen. Sort of like, remember when O'Shaquie Foster his out on the road when he was probably going to lose that fight?
Yeah, against Rocky Hernandez.
Yeah, because he was definitely going to lose. I guarantee he wasn't going to win on those cards. But yeah, I think Des said it earlier, or you said it. This was for what it was. But this was a good undercard. It was competitive. I enjoyed the card. I didn't watch the women's fight, obviously, but I enjoyed the rest of it.
He rarely watches the women's fights, ladies and gentlemen, but we love him anyway. Yeah, it was. I thought it was a pretty entertaining night, all in all. It was. I honestly a little bit surprised how well that card worked out. I mean, Paul puts on good cards. I don't want to fucking pay for him, and I don't want him to get a title opportunity. But I don't make the rules. Otherwise, believe me, the game would be played much differently. Let's move over to a different card and a fight that I thought was turned out to be fully entertaining. With Sha Peters losing unanimous decision to Bradley Ray in a good back and forth fight where each guy's had their own stretch of rounds, and it seemed like it was probably on the line in the last. A really good war between these guys, with Bradley Ray moving up a division, and it does really interesting kind of last couple years for him. He's been he hasn't lost since he lost to Tyler Denny, but he's not fought anyone whatsoever of note. And just came in here and he looked fit, he looked confident, he looked sharp against a much larger fighter in Sha Peters, who didn't want to use those physical advantages, and ultimately he just snuck enough rounds out of there in what was a very good fight, which I'd say do it again.
Yeah, it was a good fight. It was two kids at a very similar level. I think if you're the promoter, you probably look at Sha and think, right, I'm going to try and get you a British title fight or a Commonwealth title fight. And the European popped up vacant. If I'm honest, these two are not good enough to be European champion. Not at the moment. And they found themselves fighting for a vacant belt. And I think the European title would be too much for them. But last night was a really good fight. And that's what happens when you put two kids in that are very evenly matched. I like the way Peters was boxing, but I think Rhea was very persistent, and
hold on a second, Des. Hold on a second. I hate to take this up, but Peters, how do you get Peters out of Pitters? As far as the English language goes, in my understanding of vowels, it's easily split into two words: Pit-ters. So Pitters. I don't know how they get Peters. I don't know how they get Davis out of Davies. Like in the UK,
what did I call
you
him?
have no respect for vowels, Des.
What did I call him? What did I call Sha?
You said that. You said as they like. You said Peters, as they like to say, as the announce crew says. I'm arguing with the way that they say it too. It doesn't make sense.
I was only being polite because you said Peters. I'd always call him Pitters. It
should be Pitters. It should be, shouldn't it? Where the fuck do these people get off?
I was being polite because you're the host and you called him Peters.
Yeah, it should be Pitters. Yeah, it's fucking Pitters.
In my mind, it's Sha Peters. So,
yeah.
But Sha Peters had a decent career, bouncing somewhere between area level, British level, and Dan Aziz beaten for a British title on his own show. That's his level. So to be fighting for a European belt, albeit vacant, is probably a step up. But when you get two kids evenly matched, that's what can happen. And good luck to Brad Rhea. He's now the European champion, light heavyweight European champion. It's a big title. We've got a really good history with our light heavyweights, and the European belt is prestigious to us. I thought Sha started well, but I think and you got me all confused now with names. Bradley Rhea was very persistent and very dogged, and I think this fight was won in the last third when Rhea didn't neglect his jab and Pitters wasn't using his. And I think that's what the difference was. I don't think there's a lot between them. I thought Rhea just nicked it because in the last third of the fight, I thought Rhea was more disciplined and had a bit more structure to his fight.
It's very sneaky with those uppercuts too, right? Like I thought as far as the power punches go, like that sneaky little uppercut he was landing might have been the difference maker.
Now I think if Pitters had kept his shape, I don't think Rhea would have been able to throw them shots. I don't think it would have been easy for him to do that. So it's what happens when a fighter loses shape. When a fighter doesn't use their natural advantages, you open doors to so many other problems. And I think that's exactly what happened last night. I thought Rhea was a good winner. You know, if it had gone the other way, I would have been a little bit surprised, but I wouldn't have been amazed. I thought Rhea was a worthy winner, but it was a good fight. And there's no reason why they can't do it again.
No, and it makes sense because as you said, when it comes to Pitters, he'd kind of been floating around in between two levels, and I don't think that Rhea is distinguishably different than those levels. So I mean, where else would they go? I mean, I guess maybe he could test the waters against a Lyndon Arthur or someone like that, but I don't know, or do this again. The simple way to say it is, I don't think I don't think a world title is ever in Brad Ray's future. So make the money where you make it.
Yeah, no, them two kids last night, they're lucky to fight for a European title. That was the point I was making. They're lucky to be having a European title. If that European title weren't vacant, it was held by a solid European champion, they're not fighting for it and they're not winning it. That last night would have been for a Commonwealth title or a British title if it had been vacant. They're what them two kids are, but it doesn't mean they can't have a good fight and put on a good TV fight for us. Going back to it, if Shakan was to keep his discipline, is to use his natural advantages, it takes an awful lot of game away from Rhea. And that might change the outcome of the fight. So if they do it again, Peter just wants to work on not neglecting his jab. I think I spoke about this with Steve last night. Some kids use their jab as a tool and some use it as a weapon. And when you're 6'3" or 6'4" and you're a light heavyweight boxer, you need to use that jab as a weapon. And I think Peter didn't do that last night. And he allowed Rhea to be sneaky, to be slippery, to work on the inside. But it's what happens when you lose your shape and you take away your own advantages. It was a really good fight, and I'd like to see it again.
Justin, I can't remember. Did you catch this fight? You went through hell getting back from Arkansas, which is generally the case. I can't remember if this is one that you missed.
Funny enough, I watched I got a lot of the undercard, but did not get to the main event. I got a lot of the undercard, which is weird, but I didn't get to the main event of this card. I'll let Des said everything more than I could have said.
There you go.
And we'll get us another name. Rhea or Ray? Because they called him Stingray. Is it Rhea or Rhea?
Yeah, Ray. Yeah.
Ray. I was wondering how you. Honestly, I'm like, man, I get confused.
I don't fucking know anymore, Justin.
Like my last name's Dole, like Dull, but people think it's Dole. So maybe that I don't know if that's I don't know how they pronounce it over there. How would you pronounce? You figure Dull would be like Dole. I don't know how that's pronounced either. Who knows?
It's over there. It's pronounced breakfast. Ugh. Don't know how you guys eat beans at breakfast time, Des. Still trying to wrap my mind around it. Never going to get there, I don't think. Let's see here. And Des, I only caught the main event of this one, honestly. This happened to hit during my nap time, and I really, really wanted to nap this particular day. So why don't you take us through anything you saw on that undercard worth noting?
Okay, Ireland's Sean McComb, he was being brought back. You might have last seen him. He was getting beat by Arnold Barbosa. That's a world-class loss, Arnold Barbosa. He also lost to Gavin Gwynn, so he was getting out in a 6-rounder last night.
McComb beat him.
Yeah.
And McComb beat him, too. I think he beat Barbosa. I think he beat him.
Yeah, it's a close fight. Yeah. It's a world-class loss, and you can be forgiven for losing that, particularly considering what Barbosa's gone on to do. McComb's one of them long-rangey southpaws, and he uses his jab more as a distance keeper. It's a nullifier to keep kids off balance. But I go back to what we said in the previous one. I think sometimes you've got to use your jab as a weapon, not just a tool. And if McComb could do that, I think he'd find himself being a lot more proactive and having a lot more success in fights. Now, where the ceiling is for McComb, I don't know. Last night was meant to be was going to be a routine fight. McComb now sort of 19-2, 5 stoppages, so he's not a puncher. So I expect him to use his long limbs and that wide stance and get behind that jab and keep distance. But I would like to see him be a little bit more proactive, a little bit more aggressive, and not so risk adverse in fights like this last night, because this will prepare him for where he thinks he might want to be. I agree with Justin. He gave a really good account of himself against Barbosa last time out. So he can kick on, but I think he does have to tweak it a little bit. I think he's a little bit predictable, and I think he's got this habit of throwing shots on the inside, but they're long shots, like a long southpaw uppercut. And when he does that, his chin goes up and his body becomes exposed. And I think a good fighter would now have to work their way on the inside and go to work on him. So last night was routine. He's back on the winning saddle now. Let's see where he goes. But I think there's a few tweaks we can make with McComb to make him a bit more effective. The other fight on the card that had a lot of interest amongst British fans was Adrian King. Adrian's, I think he's a 5-0 going in, and he's trained by Curtis Woodhouse, who had a a brilliant career for different reasons. He come from professional football into pro boxing. He started from the very bottom up and won himself a British title. So he has a really good story to tell, Curtis Woodhouse. With Adrian King, things were being said in commentary last night. The commentary was bad. It always is on DAZN, but the commentary was really bad with Adrian King. It was describing him as a brilliant prospect and a super talent. He's none of those things. Adrian King is not a prospect. He's a novice boxer with no pedigree, and he's learning on the job. Now, I know we hear that quite a lot, but it really is true for Adrian King. And fights like last night won't do him no harm, because he might learn more from the loss than he will from a lot of wins, because he knows what he can't do. He knows where he's going wrong. He knows where he's got to go to get over guys like last night. So, did I see anything in Adrian King that makes me jump out and go, yeah, wow, this guy's going places? No, I didn't. But he's a young kid. He's big. I'm sure they could work with him over the next 18 months. But how far ago, I don't know. But he was well beaten last night, Adrian King, and he's back to the drawing board. But in my opinion, if I was advising Adrian, I'd say in your first 20 fights, expect to lose 4 or 5. And that's going to be a big part of the learning development. That's going to be a brick in the wall. And let's see where you are after 20.
Yeah, Des, you're right about that. They were acting like he was this young, hot prospect. I didn't see any of that. I didn't see any of it. I think just because I think he's in the same gym with some other name guys that kind of gave him some credit because they were naming all these people he spars. But you're right. He is way off. And which I don't think he'll ever get there. He looks like, in my opinion, the first thing I thought was he's a poor man's Charles Martin. That's kind of what
if he wins a British title, he's had an amazing career. He really would have done that. That's my opinion.
And also, the only other fight, I think Des summed it up quick. The only other fight I saw in that I thought was I know Des saw the Dutch guy. Kraus, was it Gustav Kraus, the Dutch guy? He was interesting. Let's put it that way. He has some ability. But man, he is a knockout waiting to happen because if you want to go back and watch a very, very confident fighter who has in his ability, it's him. That guy thinks he is already, just the way he carries himself, he's already a 3-division champ. Because he is one of the cockier guys you're going to see at 9-0 in a long time. They keep talking about he's got this crazy legit power, but who knows? He's fought nothing. Nobody I don't know where he goes, but he's got a hot wife. He's got Netherlands is a good place to live, so he's got that going for him. But he's going to be fun to watch until when he runs in with his hands down and they just completely annihilate him.
No, I don't know what's gone. I don't know what's gone down. I don't know when the dial shifted in boxing. But whether you're a commentator, so we hear Eddie Hearn describe Johnny Fisher as a world-class prospect with world-class power. We're hearing commentary teams now. Dave Caldwell's been a boxer, a promoter, a manager, and a trainer. And he's calling kids like Adrian King super talents, incredibly talented. And we've got the other fella next to him saying, how amazing it all is and how talented these kids. And you've got Peter Fury saying he beats any light heavyweight in this country. Put the brakes on. Slow down a bit. Hold up. Whatever happened to people saying, he's a young fighter, he's a pro, we're going to give him 18 months and try and get him to 15 to 20 bouts, then we're going to review it a bit. But there's a lot to be learned, and that's what we're doing now. Whatever happened, since when was everyone in such a rush? Since when did you have to keep selling the public this amazing... Why has everyone got to be Oscar De La Hoya at the Olympics? Why has everyone got to be an Anthony Joshua out of 2012? Why can't we just say, no, this kid's learning on the job, he's had a decent amateur career, but there's a lot to learn and we're going to take 18 months doing it. I don't know why everyone's trying to sell us. It's almost, I feel like commentary teams and trainers and promoters now in boxing, they're constantly pitching all the time. Do they sit down before the show and get told, we've got 3 or 4 other networks in the game now. There's 3 or 4 other promoters operating across all the networks. we need to start telling everyone how good our product is. But how far do you get lying to people and treating us like idiots? So last night on that card, there wasn't a super talent. There wasn't a great prospect. There wasn't anyone that jumps out at you. But what there was a lot of young pros on the job learning, working their craft. Some got caught out last night, some got away with it, and some went on. But there's loads to be done with these kids, and it ain't going to happen overnight. And the Dutch kid, Klaus, who you're talking about, he's another one. Chin in the air, hands down, walking into things. But in 18 months' time, we might see a complete different fighter. And that's okay. They're allowed to say that, but they're not saying it.
Yeah, they have a product to sell, and sometimes they get a little too caught up in that for their own good.
But you're only, real quick, we'll get into this real quick. I was going to say that, to Dez's point, all you're doing is you're hurting the kid. You're not helping him. By putting him on a shelf where you think that he's going to be this, he can't be anything below that, or it was a bust. Like you're not letting him choose his own ceiling. You're giving him that ceiling, and he's not getting to fight and choose his own. So you're already kind of deterring what people are going to think of him and where his career is going to be, instead of just letting his career be. Just let him have the career. Let him do the things, then start hyping him.
Yeah, but that's not the way they do it. They try to sell tickets early and then let everybody down, and then repeat. Yeah. I think the only other card that there is to discuss, I think, would be the one in from Canada, unless I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys.
We got Mbilli and Pascal.
Oh yeah.
And the Wilder fight.
Oh, and the Wilder fight too. Oh God. Well, I didn't watch anything else on that card, but I'll say that Wilder, I don't know, looked all right. He looked like he could go on another 5 years beating club fighters.
He looked bad versus the club fighter, though. But he looked bad versus the club fighter. Wilder needs to hang it up. That right there for me summed up Wilder. You had a great career, better than anybody thought you would. But let's move on. Let's just end this. Deontay Wilder, as of just a couple of years ago, would have annihilated this guy in one round. Instead, he's having to force this guy to a guy basically didn't quit, but just couldn't get back up. He didn't even knock him fully out. It's too much. I love Deontay Wilder. I've seen him fight, I think, 3 times in person now. I drove to Birmingham to watch him fight, but I'm at the point with Wilder. Come on, man. It's time. What are you chasing? What is he chasing now? He's got the money. He's got his own singing album. He's got his own albums out now. Just find something else, because that was, I don't want to use the word embarrassing, but it wasn't far off from that last night.
And it was on pay-per-view, so yay, everybody had that going for him. Des, did you catch any of that fight whatsoever?
Yeah, and it was what I've come to expect from Wilder. Look, Wilder at his best wasn't a pretty watch, but we're getting Wilder at his worst. So and I don't want to disrespect Deontay Wilder, because he was really good for American heavyweight boxing, and he was great for that scene when it needed it, So he was a kid that sold East Coast and West Coast. He travelled. He come over to London. He was prepared to go to Russia. Now, this is a kid that had 3 brilliant fights with Tyson Fury, beat Luis Ortiz twice, come from behind, gets off the floor. I ain't got a problem with Deontay Wilder's career, but I think, to agree with Justin, it's now come to an end. And on Saturday night, or was it Friday night, he was disjointed, he was gangly, he was uncoordinated, elbows out, long stance, pouring with a jab, looking for that big, long right hand because he knows it will work. But it only works to a level now. And I'd love to see Deontay Wilder go out on a win. I really would. I don't think he will. I think there's too much money on the table. But not much more to say about it other than it wasn't a very nice watch. And I don't think Deontay Wilder gets anywhere near anyone in the top 15.
I wouldn't think so at this point in time. I mean, he could always land that right hand against somebody and put their lights out, but he's not very good at throwing it anymore.
he don't throw it no more, and he gets hit too easy, and his chin's in the air, and he's gangly and awkward. His elbows are out, his hands are wide. It's a bizarre one with Deontay Wilder, but he was never your quintessential heavyweight anyway. Skinny legs and skinny body. He could have probably made cruiserweight.
Oh yeah.
So like it was always been a bit of a special case, and he's the exception, not the rule. But I'd like to see Deontay say, "I'm going out on a win," and fair play to him. There's been times in the last 10 years he's been brilliant for boxing. So I don't want to disrespect him on the pod, but I think we've seen enough to say that. We've seen enough of Deontay to say that this is the end of the road.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to, I mean, he could carry on, going to these podunk towns like Wichita, and I mean, it's big enough town, city, I guess. But I mean, going to these off the beaten path places as far as boxing goes, and smacking around club fighters and make some more money. I mean, you could absolutely do that and get away with it, kind of like a Butterbean thing in its own way. But he's not gonna be, headlining against.
Or Justin, or Matty. Like, what do we know? He'll probably sign to fight Anthony Joshua, and they'll do it in Riyadh, and they'll split 100 million, or they'll go to Wembley Stadium and sell 90,000 tickets. What do we know?
You said it. Wilder knows, and I think Matt once said it. He's going to get another big payday. And he's not stupid. He knows somebody's going to call him. He knows that. And what happens, and this is usually what happens to older fighters, they just can't pull the trigger anymore when they get older. It happens to every great fighter. When they get a certain age, they just can't pull the trigger like they used to. And Deontay Wilder, that's what he had. So he can't do that anymore.
Do you know what I'll say to that, mate?
What?
I'm convinced that I think Anthony Joshua has been a shell of himself since he got beat in New York, and I don't know whether he doesn't know whether his arsehole is fried or boiled. He really doesn't. I've never seen someone so confused. He doesn't know what he is and what he ain't, and he don't like fighting punches. He can't turn a fight around. He don't get off the floor. I'm not even in this state. Would the people behind Anthony Joshua say, "Yeah, go in with a Deontay Wilder," knowing that all he's got to do is land one shot? If Wilder touches AJ once, I think he'll have a big anxiety attack. His legs will go, and we've seen AJ when he gets buzzed, he goes to bits.
But
he looks like Jake Paul.
I think Joshua.
So would they risk it? I mean, I think
they would.
I think they would. Joshua to be favoured because he looks a little bit more compact and look better.
But I think versus
version
this
of Wilder, would they trust Anthony Joshua?
They would. I think they would. If I was them, I would. I don't think Wilder's just. I don't think the right hand. I don't think anything's the same. I would trust it. If the money's there, I would trust him versus Wilder. I would. This version of Wilder.
And that's the question. And that's the question, Justin. Is it? You're rolling the dice here because you've got to be able to trust AJ. Now, we all said on this pod a few months ago, all Dubois has got to do is land. Once he lands, he'll buzz AJ and AJ will go to biz. Ben Davison is a risk-adverse coach. He doesn't know how to turn a fight around. So it's even this incarnation of Deontay Wilder, it's still a risk. I agree. If the money's 100 million quid split, if they're going to sell Wembley Stadium, if it's something that Turkey wants, they'll do it. But there's still a little bit of jeopardy, not because we know it's the same as the Dubois thing, not because we know how good Wilder is. It's just we know what happens to AJ when he gets touched.
Yeah, it's a shame that it's that way because AJ was looking good. I thought he looked as good as he had looked in years when he fought Volin, and it wasn't like, I mean, Volin's a very capable fighter. Yeah, he's clearly on the slide at the point that they fought, but I mean, where the fuck was AJ at that point in time? And Ngannou, I mean, there's just so many unknowns about him because of the Fury fight, this, that, and the other. But I mean, against Volin, he looked $1 million. And then just again, like you said, he touches him and then he just he falls apart and he can't get it back. So,
but let's be honest, mate. Volin stunk the place out against Bagashev, didn't he? He weren't proactive. He couldn't put his foot down against a smaller guy, and he's been a sparring partner.
He did plenty to win against him, though. He didn't need it. That's the shame. I mean, Bagashev didn't give him a reason to work.
No, correct. But you wouldn't look at that Bagashev performance and think, "God, this is a live one." I'd look at a guy that's coming to the end of his career and thinking, "This is a guy that don't really want to get involved anymore." Bagasev's a puncher, but he's not a heavyweight boxer, albeit he's a big puncher in cruiserweight. And he's had a career mainly built up of being a sparring partner. And other than that one Tyson Fury night, what could you tell me about Otto Volin's career? And that's Anthony Joshua's best performance against that kid. Anyone that can punch, anyone that comes forward, anyone that wants to press you and push you, I think Anthony Joshua would struggle with. And that includes our kid at Ipswich, what's his name? Fabio Wardley. That includes Moses and Toma. That includes Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker, Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury. Anyone in that top 5, top 8 heavyweight group, all they've got to do is press AJ and land. Of course, he can punch, and of course, he can still be a danger himself. But we've seen enough of AJ in the last 4 or 5 years to know he doesn't swim in deep waters. He don't hang around with the sharks. He wants a bit of an easy life. He likes a cushy life. And anyone that can punch, anyone that can buzz him, will cause AJ massive problems, because we know AJ goes to bits when he's in trouble. So I just think even this version of Deontay Wilder, and I do agree with Justin, I fancy AJ to beat this version, but even this version could be a problem for AJ, knowing how AJ goes when he gets touched.
It's scary to think that this version of Wilder could be a threat. Yeah.
And disappointing, because we should have had this 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, there's a number of fights that should have happened 3 or 4 years ago with this group, but it didn't.
And it's sad that we're gonna get sold. If we do get sold this, we're getting sold to Shadows of Men, and we should have had this a while back when it would have been an absolute blockbuster.
Yeah, hopefully it's less awful than the Roy Jones Jr. Bernard Hopkins rematch, but we shall see. And I do think we shall see. I think there's too much money on the table. Like, I think Wilder needs one more club fighter level victory, and AJ just needs to come back and get some W somewhere, and there you go. It's set up to happen again. But also join us now. We have Mr. Steve Wellings and Mr. Rob Kelly. Let's go, Rob. We have touched on everything that has happened this week except for the card in Canada with Christian and Mbilli, so feel free to speak your mind on all of that stuff.
Yeah, no, I just couldn't wait to speak about that card in Canada with Mbilli on it. That's why I can't.
The highlight of your week.
Yeah, that's why I can't. Take me away from a fucking John Pascal fight. That's what I say. Try and stop me. You try to stop me watching this. Who won that fight, by the way?
Pascal lost, and they were on different cards. There's enough action in Canada for 2 nights.
Fuck. What's his name? Must have been out. What's his name?
Who's that?
Oldie something, is he? Some fucking...
Pascal was on a different planet from anybody else, Rob.
Not for the first time. What's homeboy's name? He's like a fake Caleb. He's like Canadian Caleb Plant. Cody something, is it? What's his name?
Cody Crowley.
I think he's retired, hasn't he?
That poor, there's a reason he had to pull out of the Boots fight. Yeah, poor son of a bitch. He's had a rough life. I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah, well, at least he didn't get to see the card last night. Hopefully, he wasn't on it.
That would have sent him over the edge. Be like, all right,
yeah.
I'm going out of this shit.
I didn't see the Canadian fight, dude. I saw the Wilder one. Like terrifying. Looking at the effects of what happened to him in the 3 Tyson Fury fights. Like, he literally came out at the end of those 3 fights a totally different fighter, like completely shot, completely gun shy, like punch drunk looking nearly, almost like he looked like the other night, like he never had a fight. Like, it was like he's after coming back for a charity boxing event or something. That the quality on display in that fight was so poor. Wilder had no jab when you get the shots off. Even the stoppage was just like, it wasn't old-fashioned Wilder. Like, was it taking like 3 or 4 punches to get him down? Like,
did you feel like the referee was taking mercy on the crowd as much as he's taking mercy on her?
Yeah. On the view, that's exactly how I felt as the viewer. Like, thank fuck this is all over. Like, because where is this going? Are we getting that? Like, Are we getting that one moment like where he fucking rolls it back and he sends someone's fucking eyes rolling in the back of their head and he fucking flies their head out of the arena? No. He's slow. He's completely shot. I mean, there's a chat about it before, same as the other guy worked about, and I still didn't think, despite how shot he was, and I knew he was this shot, I still thought like they're putting him in with an almost dead body just to give him a knockout reel to get him so you can start saying, oh, at Deontay Wilder, the power never leaves and all. But we didn't even see it. We couldn't fucking see the power. It was because he couldn't get the shot off. Like, he looks scared to engage. He's gone flat in the feet. He never was great technically anyway. Like, I mean, you spend 6 years plus with Mark Breland and still can't kind of jab fundamentally.
But he
Probably
had
says
snap.
more about you.
He had snap. He had a jab.
He
He had
had
a right
what- he
hand,
had
but
the-
they both snapped.
And they were the scariest tools in boxing, but the Fury fights him obviously. Like, he gave away 45 pounds to Fury or something on the second night. And got his head rattled around. He got beat up so bad that he thought they were putting egg weights in the glove. Like, he fucking, you know what I mean? So he's a shell of himself. We don't have to kind of keep repeating that. It is what it is, but it's sad to see, man. And they've flown this fucking AJ, but will you just go away? Why didn't you just fucking make it years ago? What's the fucking point in making it now? Like, what's this? These retirement fights? Oh, we could see Fury AJ. We could see Fury Wilder. Why now? Like, we don't want to fucking see him now. Like, should have made him when both in their prime. Now it's just like, I don't even know what that AJ and fucking Wilder fight would look like. I don't even know what that would look like. I don't know who's more shot. You know that way.
It looked
And I
like
think-
James Toney and who did he fight in Jamaica there the other week? Was it? Oh, freak. Razor Ruddock?
It was Razor Ruddock. Yeah, it was Razor Ruddock. James Toney has a TikTok page, by the way. Absolute fucking gold. I'm new to the TikTok world. He has a TikTok page, and he said last week, everybody's saying, James Toney can't talk. And shut the fuck up.
God.
That's fucking amazing, man. You gotta get on it. It's fucking brilliant. Then today he did one. He was like, "What motherfuckers do shoulder roll and do that shit wrong? You want to know how to do it right? Come the lights out." That was it. That's the TikTok. That's what he said. So James Toney embraces the new generation, and I'd rather watch James Toney's TikToks than watch fucking Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua fight in 2025. Shocking stuff, really. Like, yeah, it was a bit of a mockery weekend, wasn't it? You have the Jake Paul thing and the Chavez, where's Ames? I told you, like, for fuck's sake, like, you can't keep going for he might lose this one. He's fighting a real boxer, is he? Fuck, former world champion, yeah, and former fucking chronic coke addict, and not too fucking recent former chronic cokehead for Chavez. Like, he's already lost the non-boxer, so it can't be anything new for him. But like, fucking hell. But then again, you think about, like, I was trying to make a football comparison as the junior, like being Julio Cesar Chavez's junior is a hell of a pressure. Like, that's almost up there with like a Ronaldo Jr. or a fucking Messi Jr., isn't it? Like, he was fucking a once in a lifetime fighter, and the young fella just was fucking trying to live up to his rep. Same as we see with all these young guys coming through, they're born rich and try to live up to the old man. But Chavez, that was the first one in there, like, and it's been sad fall for him. So a sad weekend for boxing. Overall feeling is sadness that we had to see Deontay Wilder like that. Sadness that they're going to make this fucking fight, and sad that fucking Jake Paul is now probably en route to a world title shot, even though he's never going to fight a real fighter, and the grift continues. Like, and I don't know about all that fucking shit about him bringing people in as well. So who's getting brought in by this? Like, do we want them in? We need fighters in, like, not this kind of fucking, and I'm from Ohio. I came from nothing. We didn't come from nothing, pal. Like, I'm not quite sure you know what nothing is. Like, we were checking with AB or one of those guys who came from nothing. But
Jake Paul's the guy who says, he's like, yeah, dude, I'll bring some people to your party and fucking we'll fill that place up. It'll be a good time. And like, the people he brings into your house, like, piss on your fucking sofa and break your windows.
Yeah. And then they'll get away with it. You'll get prosecuted. You're one of them ones, like. But yeah, I don't know. As much as there's a lot of stuff going on in boxing at the moment, that this weekend was really, really poor. Devoid of any fucking talent on display, number one, and then just Far City, like Pascal in 2025. Wilder shot the bits, setting him up for a fight with AJ, shot the bits, and fucking Jake Paul's beating Chavez back into a fucking rehab home. I don't know, man. Not good. Like.
No, not good at all.
Apart from that, everything was great.
Yeah. And Steve, was this one of those weekends that makes you question your job security?
Well, not really, because if any poor sucker's going to come in behind me, then good luck to them. That's what I say. No, it was it was an interesting weekend. Rob's summation is quality as always.
The BBC.
Oh yeah. And also we're pleased to announce on this episode of the Nuthouse podcast that Rob will be the newest member of Kneecap.
Don't think they can afford me to.
Oh dear me. Yeah, I'll give you a quick assessment, Matty. You boys have covered everything that I was going to say, to be honest. I mean, Wilder, he looks so bad these days. I don't think they could even make that AJ fight credibility-wise. I mean, I just don't see it at all. Even two old guys slugging it out. I mean, people say the last thing to go is the punch, but I think the punch has even gone. Prime Wilder batters that lad in a round. You know, he does the Audley Harrison on him, destroys him in a minute and a half. No messing about, straight in there. I think now he can't land the punch to even see it. He used to have a nice jab, Wilder. He used to use it to confuse people and hide the right hand behind it, but the footwork, timing, punch resistance, all suspect. I think he's mentally washed. I wouldn't trust him to step up and beat anyone decent.
He used to blind it. He used to have enough reaction time and everything that he could blind you with it real quick. And the right hand was just a split second behind it. And now it's just too utterly predictable. I mean, it's not a split second. There's seconds between the left hand and the right hand now.
Exactly. For all of his technical deficiencies, he did have a good jab and it did serve a purpose, as you say, because it confused the people and sort of kept them occupied before the right hand to come. But it's just too slow now. He can't get the punches off quick enough. And as I was saying, I don't even trust him to step up, beat anyone decent. There was names mentioned beforehand. Oh, why is he fighting this Tyrell Herndon, who got knocked out in a round by a 2 and 4 guy, which can happen. Got knocked out in 2 rounds by Richard Torres, who's a prospect. I mean, they were talking about guys like Cassius Chaney even. Michael Hunter. I wouldn't trust Wilder to fight those type of guys. Maybe Adam Kovnacki. I don't know, man. Even he might be a step too far. But I don't know, man. I just don't. It's sad to see because I always liked Wilder, and I agree with Rob. He left a piece of himself in the ring against Fury. I think they both did, him and Fury. You know, took a lot out of them. They were hard fights for both of them boys. Fury's never been the same since either, and they were saying about Wilder maybe fighting Ngannou or something, but even that, man, that'd be a flipping hard fight. But yeah, he's fairly fallen into these Kansas main events, the sort of sepia-tinted camcorder visuals as well. It's not good. So poor old Wilder. We wish him well. I think they'll try and build him up, try and get him on some kind of undercard or maybe some kind of payday. That should have happened years ago, but I don't see it happening. And as for the other bits and pieces of the weekend, I got plenty of Pascal stuff for Bellew of the week. I mean, he looked absolutely terrible. Didn't even have the physique anymore. He's just got a little pot belly now. The other guys, no great shakes, just was very fundamental, used the jab. Pascal, he looked dangerously shot to me. That's kind of when, I know we say people are washed and they're shot to shit, but you see a fighter every now and again, a little bit worried about him. Like he couldn't hold a shot from even the first 30 seconds. That's not, he's been a pro now for 20 years. 2005, he turned pro. He's fought a litany of names in hard fights. Remember the likes of the Frotch fight? That was back in 2008, 2010, something like that. That was a long time ago. And that was,
yeah,
it was
a
hard
fight.
fight.
Patch, Steve, didn't he? He had a sudden resurgence in his career when he wasn't enrolled in 365 testing for
not
the
quite
WBC
sure what happened there.
I don't know what happened there, but
he looked great, but he doesn't look like that anymore. And he's 42. I suppose he's just a little bit younger than me, man. I mean, that's he needs to knock it on the head, Pascal. As for the other bits and pieces, decent fight on Saturday night, DAZN. Ray Peters, I thought Ray would win handy. Bean, putting him for Bellew of the week later as well, man. He was doing my nutting all night. Never shut up throughout the whole broadcast, just constant chatter, a bit like me now. And Jake Paul as well. I don't know whether to commend him, Matty, or not, because you know what? People say, oh, he's a good businessman and all, and he is really, because he tell you what, he's a savvy guy, man. He hoodwinks people, doesn't he? He picks up these names. I haven't seen Chavez Jr. box in a while. Don't think his dad has either, because he was saying all week, oh, there's no way that my son loses to this YouTuber. I don't think he's seen his son in action in a long time. He's picked up the Chavez name now, really. Jake Paul, bit of currency, bit of kudos. Did it with Mike Tyson as well. for the casuals. Absolute shell of Mike Tyson in absolutely terrible condition. Got the win over him. He was going to fight Hasim Rahman.
Wasn't he diagnosed with Parkinson's or something? That's what it said.
You know what I mean?
Fuck's
But he's
sake.
got Tyson on his record. And my son still says to me now, "Oh yeah, Jake Paul, man, when he beat Mike Tyson." I'm like, come on, what are you on about? Like Tyson, like 60 years old, but
he was Tyson was in a wheelchair at a hospital like a month before the fight.
Exactly, we know this.
Come on, let's get realistic.
We know this, but other people don't know this. He was going to fight Hasim Rahman Jr. Hasim Rahman Jr. is terrible, but that Rahman surname, son of the undisputed champion who knocked out Lennox Lewis, Tommy Fury, absolute garbage. The Fury surname, the brand again. He always fights someone with a name, or he fights someone with some kind of combat link, a wrestler, a judo guy, a UFC guy. Oh, this fella used to be in MMA. There's always that semblance of credibility. I think I should be patting this guy on the back, man. He is clever, Matty. You know what I mean? He fights these corpses. He's managed to get himself in the top 10. And these absolute losers, or he fights these characters and he gathers interest and people follow him along because they always have that semblance.
And he's always in character as well. Like people can't see through it. Like the guy's always in character. Like he's doing the biggest grift of all time. He's like fucking Andy Kaufman or something. Like he's like fucking Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman. Like he's always in character.
I don't know if he's that smart, but yeah, it's something along those lines.
That's all I got, Matty, man. But I just was looking at it earlier today when I was writing a piece, and I was like, you know what, this guy, man, he's some grifter, but I think I actually commend him.
No, I mean he's packing people in, and he's getting rich off of this shit. I mean, what can you say? I mean, he lives in absolute luxury in Puerto Rico and does whatever the fuck he wants to do. And I mean, his brother's become one of the biggest stars in wrestling. And if you look at some of the shit that Logan does in the ring, I mean, he's a legit wrestler. I mean, whatever you think of the fakeness and pre-planned shit that goes, I mean, they're still athletic as hell, and he does crazy shit in there. So I mean, you got to give them credit on that. They really made their own way, and I can respect that. It's just that the idea of Jake Paul fighting for a world title, knowing what he is as I watch him, makes me sick to my stomach in a certain way. Thus the title of the episode.
But and I will say one thing. I mean, he has dedicated himself to the sport. Like at first, I thought he was an absolute joke, but I mean, he's been in it a while now. He's always in decent shape. He's always fighting 10 rounders, seemingly. Jason Seals says
that. Himself to the fucking gasolina as well. By the looks of it, he's no drug tester for any of his fights, does he?
Exactly. It's easy. Jason Seals says it's easy to look good when you pay people not to fight back, and they are way smaller, older, and retired. I agree with that. But that's not the point I was making. That makes my point, in fact. Exactly. This guy's a world-class flipping con artist, man. And look good. I think that's a bit of a stretch. Look good, to be honest with you. But I get what you're saying. And yeah, I agree with you. He's fooling everybody.
He's perfect for the social media age. I mean, this is the way that it is exploited and the way that you build a brand and things like that. And Ryan Garcia was kind of did the same thing, except he did it, while being a capable boxer, just, out of his fucking mind and probably juiced to the gills. But yeah, and Jake Paul rolls on, and we'll probably be talking in 4 or 5 months about what the next Jake Paul fight is, and we'll go from there. But we'll close this out with a card from Canada on Friday. There's only one fight on this one I missed because I decided to go grab some dinner. But we'll start with the main event, and then I'll just run the undercard, and everyone can go from there. But so the main event, Christian Mbilli just wrecking Selecki, who is normally a solid operator, very, very capable around the 168-pound division. And in the first round, one smoking ass uppercut, and that was the end of the day for Mr. Selecki. And Christian Mbilli rolls on, and we're just kind of waiting for this guy to get in there with a real fighter at this point in time. But it was an impressive performance, Justin, but I can't say we learned anything new about him. I'm still waiting for that fight that tells me something about Mbilli. I have many questions, and they're nowhere close to being answered.
I can't add anything to that. This was another Mbilli fight where you see the abilities there, but until you actually fight somebody, we're just going to keep waiting. I don't know. I don't know if it's a situation promoter or they can't get the right thing they want, but he's been marinating for what, too long. I mean, he
He's
should
30
actually.
years old. He's 30 years
He
old.
should have been a world title fight realistically 3 or 4, maybe 5 fights ago, and he just keeps ticking. I don't know what he's going to do. I've kind of tuned out on him a little bit until he actually fights somebody. Like last night, what was the point of watching that? You know what was going to happen. There's no way the other guy was going to win, and he's in a lot of those fights. They're not interesting. They're just not interesting when you know he's not going to lose.
A lot of people thought that this was a good style matchup and it was going to go a few rounds.
I picked it to go the distance. Shows how much I know.
Yeah, I didn't think it would even go. I thought it would end 3 or 4 rounds. So that's kind of what I expected. Steve knows more about boxing than me, so he must have been a bigger fan of.
No, clearly not.
He must have been a bigger fan of Lecky than I was. I just thought Mbilli would just blast through him like he has everybody else. But what can he really be learning right now? I mean, he's actually, you got to figure these fights might be hurting him more than they're helping him because all he's doing is just blitzing nobody's really. I mean, he's not doing anything. So I'm just like you. I'm going to wait until he actually fights somebody before I care.
I would love to see him fight the winner of Shiraz and Berlanga. But in the meantime, Steve, I would actually settle for him taking on French Bruno, especially since we know Munguia was juicing now. The beef to the B sample came back positive too. That's a no contest now. I think Bruno is as decent of an in the meantime fight as there could be.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. He's French speaking as well, so it fits in perfectly in Quebec. But I mean,
yeah,
I have an element of sympathy.
Didn't even think
I have
about
an element
that,
of sympathy with Mbilli and his promotional team, Eye of the Tiger, to be honest with you, because I don't really see what else they can do with him. Selecki was a reasonable enough ticking time bomb, ticking over opponent, I suppose you could call him. He's gone the distance with Danny Jacobs in the past. Only Pacheco stopped him, so they had that little parallel angle to see if he could do a better job than Pacheco. Stopped him in 6, which they did. He blasted him out in a round, so they've got that going for them. Selecki's coming off a good win in February. Went to Kazakhstan, knocked out Ali Akhmedov, who's a decent enough contender. So he was on good form. And as I say, he gone the rounds with Andrade, who should have stopped him, albeit honestly, dropped him a couple of times. Gone the rounds with Jacobs, so they could say, and then Mbilli's absolutely smashed him away. I thought the ending combination was a nice highlight reel knockout. There's not really much you can learn. He picked up the WBC interim title, which is a bullshit title, but this leads to my next point. What can you do with the titles? Canelo has them all. So the reason he hasn't fought for a world title yet is because nobody can fight for a world title because Canelo is the undisputed champion at 168 pounds. So barring moving up or down, which doesn't seem to be realistic for a guy of Mbilli, I think he's 30 now, all he can do is keep ticking along and hope that he gets the Canelo call or wait for Canelo to drop the belts. So I have an element of sympathy for them, to be honest. I thought he looked really good given the context. He's been signed twice, or we're led to believe he has twice agreed to eliminators. One was for the IBF, I believe. The other one maybe for the WBC, I don't know, with Pacheco. And Pacheco withdrew on both occasions, or at least withdrew on one occasion. So the chance of a fight between two unbeaten, undefeated fighters underneath Canelo was kiboshed by Pacheco, not by Mbilli. So they're trying to make the fights. Yeah, exactly. So I think they're doing all they can, if I'm honest. And other than sort of selling him out, or they're giving him against reasonable contenders and keeping him ticking over. So I do have an element of sympathy for them. And I think he's doing all he can at the moment. He can't go on for much longer. But then I suppose Canelo can't keep the belts for much longer. You wouldn't have thought.
No, it'll be interesting to see what happens after the Crawford fight. No matter who wins that one, as far as what happens with the 168 belts. But I don't know. Mbilli he's a very capable fighter, Des. But you got to test him against somebody who's like around that title area. And I keep saying my problem with Mbilli is that everything he throws is fast and hard. He doesn't have any off speed stuff, and I just get the feeling somebody's going to time him.
That could happen. But I think this one's a bit like Schofield and Farmer. We know who's going to win, but show us how you're going to win. And what we saw from Mbilli the other night was a very much compact style with very controlled aggression. He was very proactive and he went about his job really, really well. And they would have said to him, Billy, go and do this better than Pacheco and Andrade and Jacobs. Go and make a statement. And I think he did that. The point's been made about all the belts being tied up and lack of opposition is all true. I think the Pacheco fight's a really good one. That's probably more your hardcore fight. I love the Berlanga fight, regardless how him and Hamza do. I'd love that Berlanga fight. I think that really sells. But I think there's legs in Mbilli. I think he's with a good group. I hear the point though. Where does he go now? The Eye of the Tiger, whether it's Wyatt Sanford, whether it's Osnays and Glazias, whether it's Mbilli, they know how to get guys around that space of being top 3, top 5. But can they push him on? Have they got the muscle in the game to say, no, we're going to fight the best in the division for a world title? Well, Mbilli's a good card to play. I think he brings a lot of value. Where he goes from here, I don't know. I really don't know. And I hear the point Steve makes. Where do they go from here? Because he's pretty much maxed out what he can do in that corner of the world. I still think the Berlanga fight or the Pacheco fight, the route they might take him. Or if Canelo beats Bud, would Canelo take the Mbilli fight? I don't know. But in terms of last night's performance or Friday night's performance, I think it was what you want to see from Mbilli. He set out a statement against a kid he should beat, but he beat him really well. It wasn't a mismatch, but Mbilli did what he had to do to outclass a kid he should be beating. So it's a waiting game now. But I think there's certainly 3 or 4 fights out there which stoke our interest.
Yeah, can I just add as well, Matthew? I agree with what Des is saying there. And I'm not saying Mbilli's outstanding. And I agree with you. He throws all of his hard shots all at the same time, all at the same pace. And he's not unbeatable. I mean, someone half decent, will beat him, get on the jab, give him angles. He's beatable. But like one of the guys in the chat says, the man only fighting tomato cans. But I think that's easy to say. Well, what are you supposed to do with him, realistically, apart from keep him ticking over and wait for those belts or wait for the lottery win of a Canelo fight, which isn't going to come. I think it's easy to say, oh, he's only fighting shit, he's only this, he's only that. But I mean, they've got to do something with him. I think what they're doing is okay.
And Steve, this kid, this Selecki, he's a seasoned pro, and he wasn't meant to go in the first round. And the fact that Mbilli's made that statement, he's beating better than Jacobs and Andrade and Pacheco, and Selecki's on the back of a good win on the road. I think they'd take all those things. Look, he's not Marvin Hagler, we know that, but when you've got a fighter like Mbilli in this space, I think that's the best they can do with him at this time.
I agree.
All right. Anybody have any other thoughts on Mbilli before we move to the undercard? Lovely. All right, I'm going to run through this, and people can say whatever they want about it. I have one I'll probably speak on a little bit. Let's see. I missed Stephen Butler stopping Jose de Jesus Macias. Let's see here. Luis Santana stopping Eduardo Estela. Wilkins Mateo getting a good stoppage over Adagio McDonald. He's definitely one to watch at 20 years old. Leila Boudouin getting a stoppage win over Elhem Mekhalad, which is she's a very capable fighter, so that was a bit of a shock. Jean Orobio stopping Zolt Osadan, and then Aris Lambeck Makhmudov getting back in the W column against Ricardo Brown. It was a pretty entertaining couple of minutes before he detonated a bomb. The pick on that card, definitely Christopher Guerrero against Sandy Masaoud. In a fight that was definitely very, very close going into the last round, where both guys had landed some shots, boxed very, very well. And then Guerrero was able to land a very nice shot, knocked out the mouthpiece of Masaoud. He was awfully worried about it and just kept backing up, taking more and more shots, eating them up against the ropes. Referee stepping in and stopping that fight, but it was a good win for the young Mexican now operating out of Canada. What were your thoughts on that undercard, Justin?
I mean, not a lot to say. Makhmudov sucks.
He's so ugly. He's so fucking ugly too, man. He's a goddamn missing link.
I like the only ones I like Arobio and that Wilkins Matthew, or however you want to say it. I think they can be decent one day. There's something about them, but I mean, this is not an undercard. I don't know if we had to get in depth about. Like I said, Makhmudov still sucks, and that's about it. And I like the prospects.
All right, Steve, what'd you think?
Yeah, I like these. I like these prospects. I've been watching them since most of their debuts, and you're kind of following them along the journey now. Arobio's good. He can punch. He's exciting. There's another guy, Fendero, who wasn't on this one. He's a good prospect as well. Wilkins Mathieu is really good. He has a nice jab. Turned pro very young. I think he'd only just turned 18. So he's maturing on the job a little bit. Guerrero is an exciting fight. Although I think it was Guerrero who arguably lost a fight a couple of matchups ago and got away with one. So I'm not really too sure about him. Apologies if I'm getting him mixed up with somebody else. And then I saw Butler. It was a shame the Bazinian fight fell off actually, because that would have been a really good fight.
That had war written all over it.
Yeah, that would have been a really good domestic fight, which I think. And this was a rematch for Butler. I think that Macias, they always bring him over. And I'll tell you what, the finish was class, man. It was a real heavy shot. But we know what Butler is now. He's Bazinian fights. He's like the domestic kind of fights. That guy, I can't remember the guy, Finn, I think it is, who upset Drew with Bazinian recently. Those kind of guys, because he can't step him up to world level, because they stepped him up against Alan Canuli. And he got absolutely battered in that fight. So we know what his level is, Butler. But he's a ticket seller. It'll be an exciting fight. And it was one hell of a finish last night. So hopefully they can rearrange the Bazinian fight. But overall, there's some good prospects on these cards. I do like them.
Yeah, I think they have a good eye for talent there, and they know how to build a lot of these fighters. And they're creating some decent ones up there for sure. It's Canada's a real melting pot anymore, and they're going to definitely reap the benefits in boxing as that shows. I mean, so many of these fighters that you see on the cards are not native born Canadians, but they embrace them, they give them a shot, and they end up selling tickets. But let's see here. There was not a whole lot going on this week. But there is one card I think worth talking about. Actually, there's Des, you might be able to talk about. Let's see here. So Jazza Dickens is going over to Turkey, and he's fighting Steve. God, you probably know. Is he fighting Batsirgayev over there?
Yeah, Bagashev.
Yeah, and so that's on a Wednesday in Turkey, 130 pounds against a puncher. I don't know. I think Dickens is in for a heap and load of trouble over there. I don't think any of that lines up in his favor.
Let's have a look. Where is the fight, Matty?
It's in Turkey.
Right. And the kid's 12.
There's going to be a load of celebrities ringside for AJ and Fury are going over. Will Smith's going to be there. John Fury, Troy Deeney.
Yeah, against Batsirgayev, who's undefeated. He's a real he's a real puncher too, if I recall.
Yeah,
he's a Russian kid, isn't he?
Yep. Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah, he's a Russian kid. Yeah, it's a hard one for Jazza. I don't expect Jazza to come through that purely on what I'm seeing from BoxRec. And you say he was an Olympic gold medalist, Steve?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he won the featherweight gold at, was it Tokyo?
Paris.
I think Paris. No, it was the one before that, I think.
One before.
Where was the one before that? Was it the one when it was
the Joe Joyce one? When it was at Rio.
It was the COVID one.
Yeah, the one that was like a year late or something.
Yeah, he beat Duke Reagan in the final, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's have a look at him. He's just beating Cruz Romero. He's beating Ed DeLuca. Yes, it's going to be a hard fight for Jazza. This kid's had a really good career. He's fighting a lot of kids with winning records, a lot of unbeaten kids. He's a puncher. If Steve Sand is the Olympic gold medalist from Russia, that's a hard fight for Jazza. I don't expect him to come through that. Jazza's always been a good fighter, though. He's been really good value for money. Got some really good wins on his record. But perhaps this one's a bit, at 34 years old, I don't expect Jazza to come through this one. Had to go on the road as well. It's going to be difficult for him.
Yeah, he's got a lot going against him this time.
He has, yeah. And I don't know much about the other kid, but on paper, it was a hard fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Batasagasiev's good. I've seen quite a bit of him. He beat John O'Carroll. He's got this WBA interim title. He's been calling out Lamont Roach because Roach is the proper champion at super featherweight, isn't he? But then he moved up to fight Javonta. And obviously they're going to have a rematch, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. The only thing about Batasagasiev is he is quite gung-ho. In his last fight with the fella from Argentina, he got dropped heavily a couple of times, maybe 3 times, can't remember. It was a good fight. He came back, beat him on points, but that little bit of vulnerability, defensive vulnerability is there. But as Des says, Jazza won't be able to exploit that, but somebody down the line might be.
There you go. Yeah, and the only other
He's a
card.
typical elite amateur though. They've chucked him into the deep end from the word go, haven't they? If you look at his record, they've really got a lot of faith in the kid.
Yeah, but he's not a runner like your typical amateur, which came to bite him in the ass last time. But it'll be an exciting fight, I think. Yeah.
All right. Well, and let's we'll hop over. This is the only thing really happening. This is on from Manchester on Saturday. Going to be happening on DAZN. So yay, your subscription fee. Going to be headlined by Jack Catterall and Harlem Eubank. We'll hold that discussion for after the undercard. The undercard is going to have Joe Cordina against Jarrett Gonzalez Quiros over 10 rounds. Going to have Akib Viaz against Alex Murphy. Sky Nicholson getting back in there after losing her title. And this is at featherweight against Carla Camila Campos. Pat Brown against Lewis Oakford. And I think we'll stop at William Crawla versus Fraser Wilkinson. Give me your thoughts on that card, Steve, and we'll get to the main event after.
Yeah, it's decent enough. Few prospects. Leo Atang making his debut, Niall Brown as well. Sky coming back, as you said, after that loss to Tiara Brown out in Australia. William Crawla struggled a little bit in his last fight, if I seem to remember, so he's stepping up against this Wilkinson. Pat Brown, good step up for him. He's had a couple of fights against Noah Marks. Now they're moving up against Lewis Oakford, who's won and lost at domestic level, so he should have the 8 rounds in him. That'll be a decent enough test to see where Brown's at after only 3 fights. Fiaz was supposed to fight Michael Gomez Jr., as far as I know, but he pulled out, so he's fighting Alex Murphy, who is a good fighter at this level. Had a good fight with Khalil Majid on a recent show. Can't remember what undercard that was, so that should be a good 10 rounds. And then Cordina, not really that interested in that fight. I'm trying to think about that. I thought it was Joet Gonzalez at first, but it's Jarrett Gonzalez. He's only 24 and he's had 18 fights. Doesn't seem like he's left Mexico before. I'm not familiar with him, so I can't really make comment. This is probably
the unknown Mexican puncher?
The unknown Mexican puncher, exactly, for the WBO Global Lightweight title. So this could be a bit of a banana skin for Cordina.
Disaster written all over it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple of decent scraps on it. It's nothing really to write home about the undercard, Matty.
There you go. Yeah, it's I don't know if Des or Rob or Justin has anything to say about this undercard in particular.
It's nice seeing Joe Cordina back, isn't it? It's nice seeing Joe Cordina back. He's had his problems with the promotional company, so Joe Cordina's back, which is nice. I expect Pat Brad to get past Lewis Oakford. Alois Jr. seemed to find Oakford pretty easy. Good to see Leo Atang debut. Noel Brown. But yeah, this one's pretty much all about, I agree with Steve, this one, not much to write home about. It's probably all about the main event.
All right. Yeah, and the main event is Jack Catterall against Harlem Eubank. I've got this over 12 rounds, which I think this is going to be Harlem's first 12-round fight. So that could be a little bit interesting, but maybe not, given that Catterall's not much of a puncher. He's not much of a pressure fighter, so I don't think he's going to push the pace. Honestly, if you're going to enter into a 12-round fight, not the first, not the worst guy to dip your toe in with. But I guess the question on this one, Rob, is does Harlem have a level that we didn't know yet? It's been a slow burning career, and he's just kind of fell into this fight with Catterall, who is definitely in need of a W to establish himself. What are your thoughts on this one? Does Harlem have something that we haven't seen before that is gonna make this probably a better fight than it sounds on paper?
You don't know dreadlocks. You don't want this. Oh, forgive me, I'm slipping into my mother's tongue. I think Harlem Eubank has a shot. I think Catterall has the kind of style that he's not like super dynamic. He's cute, Eddie Catterall. He's a lovely little boxer. He's cute. He has a good boxing IQ. He knows how to get himself ahead in a fight. Mixes it when he has to, boxes when he has to. He is very good in the IQ front, and he's got good skills. But he's not like Harlem Eubank is like, I might not be able to come up with a game plan where he goes to walk Jack Catterall down. Now, easier said than done. Josh Taylor wasn't able to do it. He was a way better fighter than Harlem Eubank, but he can crack a little bit, Eubank, can't he? So, like, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that you think Harlem Eubank has a chance to pull something out with a KO if he can catch Catterall with something. I just think Catterall experience. I don't think it's going to be a particularly exciting fight. And Catterall has too much experience. He's too cute. He'll wait for Harlem Eubank to get safe. He'll nick the fight. He's good at boxing on the back foot. But I think it's going to be an absolute stinker. Stink the fucking place out.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Catterall's just going to grind it down to a snail's pace. And
like he's not easy on the eye catcher, is he? He was good. I think a lot of people became fans of him by default, almost, or de facto fans of him after he clearly should have got the win in the first Josh Taylor fight, and that was such a stinker of a decision, and it got a lot of people on side with Jack Catterall. But when you look at him, it's not that exciting. Like I said to you, he's a good fighter. I'm not taking anything away from his talent levels. I think he's a very talented guy. Doesn't crack that much. Doesn't have a fucking devastating. And if you get someone on the hook, you're not going to guarantee. He's not fucking the second coming of Sugar Ray Leonard or anything, is he? Like where you're going to guarantee an exciting finish. He just does enough to get by, makes the other guy do the work, and capitalizes off it. Well, that's a good style to have when you're the fighter. Not necessarily one to bring in the casuals. I think Harlem Eubank has a bit of excitement about him from what I've seen of him. I think he was last out against Tyrone McKenna, which is a fight you'd expect him to win, but he still showed something in it. He's not a mug. Like he's there. He's going to be there in the fight, and he's going to be trying to knock Catterall out because I think that's his only way to win. So in that way, I think he probably plays into Catterall's hands, and that's what's going to turn it into a stinker. But hopefully we can see if Catterall does win it the way that we expected, that he might have to come through the fire and produce something rather than just win at a canter, which doesn't do anything for anyone but Jack Catterall. But yeah, he's up. He's not. I mean, fucking. He's not. I wouldn't be like ever. Oh, let me pull up that Jack Catterall fight and watch it again. Do you know that way? Like no shots at the guy. Like, but it's just he fights like that, don't he? Like he's economic and everything. Like so. Yeah, I'd say it's just going to be a stinker, and he'll just nick it. Like.
Yeah, I can't dispute it. I mean, this fight does just have like shitty fight written all over it, and I just don't know if Eubank has the style to where he can push the pace enough to make this an interesting fight through making Catterall uncomfortable. I hope he does, because there's nothing else to fucking watch this week. So I guess we'll be watching it, but not a particularly exciting main event on paper.
I got nothing to add. Rob, I think, said exactly what I was thinking. I think he summed up everything I was thinking about, saying that's probably going to be his. Imagine it's going to happen. I got nothing to add.
Cool.
I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm good.
I get it. I get it. Des, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a stinker. I think Jack's style will be far too difficult for a limited kid like Harlem to get around. I don't think Harlem punches hard enough. I don't think he's got enough experience. Harlem's best wins, like, Pickett, Tom Farrell, or Tyrone McKenna, and it's 2025's version of Tyrone McKenna. So I don't think Harlem's got the pedigree, the experience, or the ability to get around a really solid fighter like Jack Catterall, who's got a little bit more in the locker in every department. I could be wrong, but I expect Jack to win an absolute stinker by shutout.
By shutout, okay. Steve, go ahead.
I think he'll win unanimously. Yeah.
Okay.
I slightly disagree with the margins. I think it'll be Catterall on a close points decision, because that's just the way he fights. I agree with the boys, man. It's going to be a stinking fight. It'll be close. It'll be negative. I think Catterall will make it close, because that's what he does. That's the way he fights. I don't see the distance being an issue. I know you mentioned before, Matty, about the 12 rounders. Eubank's been scheduled twice to do the 12, and he knocked out Tyrone McKenna in the 10th and Schwarzkopf in the 11th. And he's done the 10-round distance 3 times. So I don't see the 12 being an issue for him.
Well, especially with Catterall, it's not like he's going to be
the pace,
shotting him against the ropes and wearing him down.
Exactly. It'll be that, plus he'll be in the best nick of his life, because it's the biggest fight of his life, and the fact that Catterall's not a volume puncher means that The pace shouldn't be an issue, I don't think. Harlem is actually decent for what he started off as. I thought he was a bit of a gimmick at first with the Eubank name, but he has improved. You know, he's got good opportunities for him on Channel 5. And Catterall always does enough to let fighters back into fights and make them closer than they have any business being. I mean, we all saw the Barboza fight. Those last 3 rounds or whatever it was, he just tightened the fight right up and let it slip away from him. I remember ringside years ago in Belfast, being at a fight between Catterall and Tyrone McKenna on a Frank Warren, was maybe an NTK undercard. It was that long ago. He dropped Tyrone McKenna twice, was absolutely coasting, and he proceeded to coast his way so much. He let McKenna back into it, and he only won by a point on 2 of the cards. It had no business being that close whatsoever. And that's the kind of fighter he is. So I think that it'll be close, it'll be negative, and that's because Catterall's going to let Eubank right back into it at times, just when he looks like he's about to pull away. And yeah, it's going to be poor. It's not going to be easy on the eye, as the boys said.
Well, hopefully we are wrong on our general consensus this time. Fingers crossed, because, man, we really need some entertainment this week. Not a lot going on, but it does heat on up after this for sure. And if you want hot, if you want spicy, well, get ready, because we got it coming your way with the value of the quarter.
Rolls off the tongue that the BOTQ. You can do it, you just BOTQ it, you know that way?
Oh, I wasn't quite expecting that. Good stuff. Thanks very much, Matty. It's good to be here for the Value of the Week. As you know, I filled the media assets with as much as I could find, so this might go on a bit, so I do apologise in advance. But we have a nice little one to play us in at the beginning. This podcast has been through many evolutions, as long-time listeners will know. There's been a lot of panel members come and go, a lot of pod members. Only Matty was here from episode 1 way back in, when was that, Matty? 2011, 2012, something like that?
It was the same week as Rios versus Alvarado was our first episode. That's
Right.
I think 11 or 12.
I'm still none the wiser. I can't remember when that was.
I think 11 or 12.
Neither can he, probably.
Right. Yeah.
Just a long time ago. That's 13, 14 years ago, that one.
Yeah.
My goodness,
it was so long ago, Steve, that I remember having hope for the future.
You fool. Yeah, Matty was the host back then. The original host. Yeah, people do often ask me about some of the intro clips that we play. And the one I'm going to play for you now is actually my all-time favourite from the 6th of March, 2016, episode 166. A lot of sixes there for you numerology fans. Lucas
He's not even hiding it anymore. He's not even hiding it.
No, Ryan Garcia was maybe a twinkle in the eye, Robert. Lucas Brown had been over to Chechnya and managed to escape alive. And then the next night, Andy Patterson was hosting episode 166. Some amazing energy from Andy, as you'll hear right now. Kurt was on, Smido was there, Alex Morris, Donny, Hater Dave Lowback was knocking about, and myself as well. I love this clip, so let's get on with it.
Thanks very much. Right, another nomination goes to Ricky Hatton. He tweeted out this morning, "Congratulations this morning to Big Daddy Brown. Australia must be so proud of him. On a personal note, congratulations to my team for taking the big man."
Oh, fuck Ricky Hatton, he's a fucking cunt. Honest to God, how could he not go over there for that fight for a fighter?
I know why. I'm going to guess why, and I think what I'm going to say is probably going to be close to the truth. Hatton is obviously a high priority fucking kidnap target, and there's shit like that going on over a chest. I mean, I was reading a book once called "Blown Up Russia." Right, this is about historical fact and military history for you fucking fags listening to us just now. But they were saying that Russian generals were selling like the young conscripts and stuff like anti-sexual slavery in Chechnya. So.
All right,
that's what goes on in the Russian army. Can you imagine what happened to Ricky Hatton?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. If I have to nominate another Value of the Week, I think it's Andy Patterson for saying Ricky Hatton didn't go over for his fighter because he risked getting abducted and sold into sexual slavery.
I never said that. I never said that. Talk about twisting the words, eh? Talk about twisting the words. You would work. You would do well. Shut the fuck up. You would shut up. Quiet. You're the one that would fucking work well in tabloid magazines and fucking newspapers and that. If that's what you came out with that, they comments.
It looks like a headline of a tabloid newspaper.
That's what you just said. You just fucking you heard me say something and you took it apart and put it into something else. Right?
Who would pay
Is your
for
name
him?
fucking Joseph Goebbels or some shit? You're some propaganda ministry. Yeah?
Well,
Right.
either way, I think that's a bullshit excuse because, well, Brown seems fine. I mean, we haven't heard from him yet.
Yeah,
But
if anyone was gonna have trouble getting out of Chechnya with their lives, it was the guy who sparked Chagaev in front of 20,000 people. Like, yeah, if Brown makes it home alive, then I think Ricky Hatton has no excuse.
Thanks very much. Right, another nomination goes to Ricky
Oh,
Hatton.
Lee Times.
He tweeted out this morning.
Oh, they were
"Congratulations
good
this morning
times
to Big
indeed,
Daddy
man.
Brown.
Oh, hang on, it
Australia
seems
must
to
be
be
so
on
proud
loop.
of him.
That's not what
On a
we
personal
wanted
note,
to do.
congratulations to
Let me
my
see.
team for taking the big man.
Andy's going to go mad if he finds out. There we are. Get rid of him now. Good times, Rob. You were listening back in the
Brilliant.
day, man.
I used to listen. That was when I was just a mere listener, Steve, before I had the burden
Yes.
of being a fucking whole panelist. Life, and when I think back, life was a lot simpler then when I was just a listener. I should have fucking stuck to that. Like, yeah, fucking stuck here with you fucking maniacs for fucking 10 years. Jesus Christ. Shout out Andy, by the way. Give me
Oh,
a shout
man.
last week. Top man.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good to hear Andy back again. Hope you keep well out there, Andy. If
That's
indeed
the only
you are
fucking chance
listening.
you're going to hear him coming back again.
Oh dear me. Absolute classic, says Damo. He's 100% right. Let me just get rid of Jake Paul so we can actually see what I've got on the screen here. Where are you, Jake? Off you go there. There's one for you, Matty, actually. Did you see this chat boxing over the weekend?
What?
Did you? Sorry.
That's Steve, you don't be talking about fucking former Republic of Ireland left back Steve Staunton with that, Jerry.
That's Holly Holm, Matty.
Oh, I'm the gaffer.
All right then.
She was boxing last night, apparently, with a shutout win over a Mexican. So they I saw that.
Who's
one.
hotter,
What
her or
have you-
Baumgartner, Steve, you reckon? That's
We
terrible. What's wrong with
just
me?
know that you
What are
want
you
to
on,
be the
like?
meat. We just know that you want to be the meat in that sandwich, Rob.
Listen, everyone loves sandwiches.
Sorry, everybody, for lowering the tone. There you go.
Especially Big John.
Yeah, well, yeah, Big John. Big John's
he
going to be on the
coming
list,
up?
don't worry about that. Yep.
Oh,
Is that Holly
boy.
Holmes as Captain Casual? He's right. That's Damo in the chat. Let's have a look at this one then. Next one here. Eddie Hearn put up a picture of him, Nigel, hugging Conor Benn. He says, not even going to talk about the scorecards. The people's champion right here. And Bayside Boxing with some positive energy says, fuck you, fuck Frank Smith, fuck your non-stud Barry, fuck your secret girlfriend Sky Nicholson, and fuck Conor, scumbags. So there's a nice message there.
Oh, man, that wasn't
All right.
nice. If I was Eddie, I'd be like, why are you fucking talking about a secret girlfriend? You're bringing that into it for fuck's sake.
Oh, dear. Good old Bayside Boxing there with a picture of the guard as well. There's one for you, Matty. This is how long I've been saving them for.
Come on, man. The greatest hits of last summer.
It's a Conor Benn in action figure.
You should send that to your man. I fucking got to update his tattoo, shouldn't he? The guy that got remember that guy fucking famous value of the week from years ago? That got a fucking Conor Ben tattoo when he was like 12-0.
They needed the fake beard too.
And a fake beard as well, yeah.
Oh, the fake beard, the egg on the head. Yeah, some of these are a bit old, sorry. Yeah, Tyson Fury was saying after his win over Vladimir Klitschko. Oh dear me. Right, here we go. Who you got, Rob? Jerome Boots Ennis or Connor? Okay, no, that's not a real question, is it? That
to do what?
I don't know. Jerome looks in good shape there.
He's looking good, Nick, isn't he? I think we'd give the slight edge to fucking Jerome Boots Ennis there, wouldn't we? Fuck's sake.
Damo says Wellings will be telling us about his This Is Jungle CD next. It was Jungle Mania 92. And it was a cassette.
What the fuck is Jungle Mania 92? Sounds like
That's what I got for my 10th birthday, man. Jungle Mania 2 on tape.
That sounds like what bunch of
incredible
Bit of General Levy.
Guys call their safari trip.
Fucking amazing. Oh, brilliant.
Oh dear me. Right. I did promise you he's coming now. So on their wedding day, is the message. My husband was really nervous on our wedding day and defaulted to constantly saying "Bosh" like the man on TikTok that orders the Chinese. He's everywhere, isn't he?
I was going to say that fella sounds like a real piece of shit, but at least he didn't fucking join the fucking boxing asylum panel on his wedding day. You know what I mean?
I would say is probably fucking finger to an orgasm, and then when she hits it said Bosch, but I don't think that you could say Bosch and get a woman to orgasm. I think those are entirely mutually exclusive.
My missus was cracking up about that when she was like, I can't believe you went on the pod on our wedding night, and I was like, yeah, but it was AJ Usyk. Like, what?
It's your fault for picking such a shitty date, woman. Get off my ass.
She can't get married on a Sunday. You know what? You knew who I was when you got me.
Yeah. She was asking for it. Getting married on a Sunday goes against God. What the fuck? You're supposed to just be in church.
Good stuff. Right, what have we got next on the agenda here? Here's one for you, Justin. Over in, I think it was over in Ghana, actually. Man down, as the Ghana newspaper reported. Abdul's stinging right hook left the former champion temporarily dazed. I don't know if it's just me. He looks more than he's temporarily dazed. Or maybe it was the rain that took him down.
Yeah, I was going to say, how the hell they even bought? There's like a puddle.
Why does it look like they're fighting on linoleum?
They need
looks
the
like the fucking, like, the Tesco fucking car park with, like, the top level, when they've run out of spaces and just stuck a ring around it. Like, fuck me.
You gotta love African boxing.
This is why they need more Persian rug salesmen outside of these events.
That is a good point. That is a good point indeed. Talking of Persian rugs, actually, one might turn up here. We've had Riyadh, we've had Las Vegas, Matty, and I've just been informed, says a Reddit poster, that undefeated Mirko Cuello will be contesting the WBA interim featherweight world title on August the 1st in Benghazi, Libya.
Jesus Christ.
Oh dear me.
Hillary Clinton's ring card.
I mean this sincerely. This is the first time I've ever heard something happening in Benghazi that I gave a fuck about.
Oh my god.
Get over there.
What you guys over there?
Yep, absolutely. Talking of a great bunch of guys, here's Whammy, Bo eating a family-sized bag of Cheeto Puffs. I'm wondering why Keyshawn Davis ain't make weight.
Yeah, imagine him tempted to fucking make weight. Fuck's sake.
He's a unit, isn't he, man?
He's a big guy, isn't he, Womack?
We saw his fat ass in Norfolk, and he had his 2 chairs they had designated for himself. So yeah.
But you know what it is about Womack? He just seems like he's a lot sounder than Big John, doesn't he? So you don't fucking. He's just like a nicer guy, isn't he? Seriously, it's not as bad when he does it. Like
I'll
different kind of fat. Different kind of fat.
I think I would take Bomac over Big John in a foot race. It's just a hunch I have.
Well, if you had to choose which body you would rather have, you would take the Bomac.
Fuck that. Fuck that. Do you think I would willfully agree to be a 400-pound black man in this country? The mouth that I've got, that's called dead by cop in 48 hours.
No, if you're going to swap, you're going to need to run. That's it. You're going to need to be able to run.
Yeah, 100%.
Bomac's packing heat.
This is an unacceptable
heat,
trade.
isn't he?
Oh yeah, Bomac's packing the back of the hack, isn't he? He's
yeah, exactly, man.
Don't leave home without it, literally.
Oh my goodness me. What else have we got here? Here we are. Finally, Matty. The question IFL has asked it. What do you want to see? Who do you want to see Dave Allen fight
What's next for Dave Allen?
What's next for Dave Allen?
It's right up there with to be or not to be.
Brilliant.
Oh man, good old Dave Allen. Like, what have we got?
Not the first content creator with a big platform to steal stuff from Big Russ.
Yes. It's been a while. yes, exactly. So GBM Sports announced that Huey Fury would be fighting against Puritan. Alex Nola says, knowing the bad luck Huey has had over the past few years, it wouldn't surprise me if he's fighting a boat called Puritan and pulls out with hay fever. We did.
I was like, shit. He's fighting for the fucking prescription title.
Well, he didn't fight at all, Rob, because he pulled out with a hand injury 2 days later.
Time is coming soon. All yous are going to fucking eat humble pie. All y'all suckers that write the ring back in the Boxing News magazine are going to bow down to you, Fury.
Oh, man. Peter was just like, a day before that as well, Matty Peter was like, yeah, this is going to be Huey's year. He's going to be winning a world title and stuff. And as we said in the chat, maybe his brother John Fury eye gouged him. Shout out to Dave Lowback. Oh, dear me. Right, what else have we got on the agenda?
Any day now.
The man strength is coming. I can feel it. The man strength is coming. Talking about man strength.
I hope it comes before his hairline doesn't disappear before the fucking man strength is coming. Oh, wait. I had such high hopes for Huey Fury. Like, I really thought he was the real deal. That's one of my biggest It's good job it wasn't on the pod back in them days. Good Lord.
Well, Rob, you could prove right yet, man. Don't give up on Huey just yet.
No, he's a slow burner.
Oh, my word. Right, yeah, well, speaking of slow burners, I suppose, Joe Joyce hasn't been spotted in a while, but he did tag himself in on Instagram recently, and he was at the Galactic Spiritual Informers Connection Conference in Devonshire Park, Eastbourne, United Kingdom.
No, that's the shit one. You want to go to the intergalactic fucking... That's where the real fun is. Of
there
course,
he is with
Joe
Peter,
Joyce is at that.
an informer. Oh, dear. Well, tell you what, Rob.
Joe Joyce is sort to join a cult, isn't he? Like,
there's JP was there. Known as the Insider, JP will speak on Space Arcs, the American military space fleet, Inner Earth, ET beings, and much more. Permission has been granted via the Earth Alliance, thankfully, and the white hats for JP to share intel on disclosure at GSIC 2025 UK. So there you
Where the fuck do you get tickets from this? When is this on? I might get a Ryanair over for this.
It was in March. It was in March.
Fuck it. So have me all excited for next year's one now. What's Joe Joyce going to do with all this info that he's gathering? Hey, people, I doubt it.
Forget it.
It's clearly up to no good.
Oh, fucking Joe Joyce up a notch in my estimation. If fucking Anthony Crowler's at that convention as well, we can fucking call all this up.
Oh my gosh! There you go.
They're all rubbing Anthony Fowler's CBD on their rectums to protect them against 5G waves.
Let's hope so.
Oh my word! There's only one place to go from Joe Joyce, and that is to Rick Glazer. He says, "I've had my good share of life experiences, and I can't say I'm proud of them all, but I will never deny any of them. A few have asked me if it's true that I'm a convicted felon, and my reply, absolutely, I'm a convicted felon. Never wavers. I am what I am. Enjoy your Saturday."
It's got some it's got some serious Mike Tyson energy to it, I'm an okay husband. I'm a so-so father. I'm a convicted rapist. I'm many things. It has that vibe going on to it. My question is, what was he convicted of? Like, was it like white collar stuff, or was Rick like luring like women behind a fucking dumpster at a 7-Eleven?
Don't go there. Like, maybe say he's a violent criminal. You don't have to pick the worst one. Like, fuck me.
Was he like waving his dick at bus stations? Inquiring minds want to know. Holly Holmes sad. Look, you made Holly sad. Are you happy?
Oh dear me.
These Irish
Oh dear me. Here's another one from Rick for you. He says, a friend runs a small business, brokers contracts for small commercial construction deals. So he was looking for someone to assist him. A guy came for the job weighing around 400 pounds. He liked him, offered him the job. My friend said, what's fair for compensation for you? The guy replied, 1,200 a week and you buy my lunch every day. My friend replied, from the looks of things, I would rather pay you than feed you. Was it Dan Raphael? Oh my goodness.
Brilliant.
All right. Let's have a look what else we got then. So here we are. Last Saturday, the 21st of June, the Devonish Complex, Belfast. The locals know what's going on down at the Devonish Complex. We've got Boyd versus Murray boxing against each other. But Damo, you'll like this one, Rob, has taken things up a notch. You might remember from the Devonish a couple of years ago. And we've got the warm-up act.
Well, yeah.
The Pleasure Boys.
It's one of those messed up shows where you don't know what you're getting into because it's at the Devonish. You came and you watched them box, and then after the fight, they just came on everyone in the front row. Terrible.
You only come twice, their new show. You know what? Things have got
Sounds
that bad,
better
though.
than the
When he
fucking
showed me
Jake Paul card.
I thought this was legit when he showed it me. I didn't really realise that he'd photoshopped it. That's how bad this sport has become.
I love that all the I love that all the degenerates that listen to us we're trolling Malinazi, weren't they, on his Pro Box fucking live stream, and they're all like, what is this shit about the Devonish, guys? I've never been to the Devonish. Stop saying I've been to the Devonish. I don't know what the fuck that is, the Devonish. Where's your balls at the Devonish? Everywhere.
Oh my word. Fabio Wardley got a win over Justice Haney in Ipswich Football Ground. He's a lifelong Ipswich fan, but the internet, of course, never forgets. He packed out his home stadium, and Rob from Boxing Shrew found this tweet from March 2014. I wonder if he was listening to the pod back then, where Fabio Wardley says, "This is the first time this season I've been a happy United fan." That's how long ago that was. Man United fan Fabio Wardley outed in all his glory, and then he got the win at Portman Road against Justice Haney, coming from behind to get the knockout. But it wasn't that impressive to everybody. Maybe the crowd enjoyed it, maybe Frank Warren enjoyed it, but unfortunately, in the East Anglian Daily Times newspaper, he's relegated to the top left-hand corner there because residents are left crying in their gardens, Justin, over fresh fears of the rise of mega sheds. So Fabio couldn't quite...
Sound like the fucking worst Transformers ever, them.
The fuck is a mega shed? Is it just a big shed?
The big.
It's more interesting than Fabio Wardley, anyway.
It's a transformer from up around Bristol somewhere. It's just got a mega shed. It just fucking transforms into.
It just sounds like a detached garage to me.
There you are. East Anglian Daily Times.
A lot of fighters suffer from those detached garages. They could be fucking career ending.
Oh dear me. What else have we got? Let's have a quick look here. This one was just sent in to me. Ryan Garcia has been sending out DMs again, which is great news. He sent one to Oscar De La Hoya. He said, first of all, fuck you. That's a good start off. He says, especially you for one, disrespectful me with that shitty contract because I lost, but I'm your actual only current star fighter. You can suck a dick, and I know you already do. So fuck you. You can kiss my ass. I'll beat Rolly's ass and whoever. I can't wait till I go against you like I did with Duarte and Juno to see your stupid ass face again, looking stupid fuck yodge. And that stupid offer, bitch, I'll slap the fuck out of you just like Canelo and Berlanga. So there you go. That's a nice message there, Matty. And Oscar replied and said, unfortunately, Ryan Garcia is having another episode. 10 days ago, he's talking about Golden finding his path. And tonight he sends me this rant while watching his fellow Golden Boy fighters win. Bipolar disorder is very serious, and I hope he gets the help he needs. When Oscar De La Hoya is feeling sad for you, Matty, you know that your life's going the wrong way.
It's like, goddamn, that guy does too much cocaine. You should get help. Sometimes when the guy who's done too much cocaine tells you to get help, maybe you should go and get help. He's probably speaking from experience. And he probably did all of this without ever telling this promoter to suck his dick. Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe that's what Oscar did all the time. Maybe he just like called up Bob Arum and he's like, "Hey Bob, you old fucking Jews, suck my fucking dick. This contract sucks." Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. Maybe this is more common than I realize.
Well, yeah. Well, speaking of Bob Arum, actually, Matty, that is push me on perfectly to the next one. Ireland's finest interviewer, Colin McGuigan, was recently a victim of Bob, who, just like the rest of us, got fed up with all these YouTubers.
Colin McGregor on IFL TV with Hall of Fame promoter.
Not enough. Enough.
That was quick.
Not another one. He can't manage anymore, man. He's had too many interviews, poor old Bob. He's got YouTuber fatigue, Matt. He's fed up with them all.
And it sucks, like, he's, like, very recognizable, so you just easily pick him out of a room kind of things. He's not, like, one of those people that could just, like, kind of go incognito, and you're not, like, oh, is that Dave or is that Bill? I'm not quite sure. You know, it's Bob, and so they just go chase this poor fucking 95-year-old guy around. Hey, what's your opinion on? Fuck you, you know? Like, at this point in time, like you wonder if he really wants to be alive now, and maybe he just did terrible things, and like his like suffering on Earth is having to deal with these fucking dickheads following him around with their phones, asking him questions all the goddamn day long, and all these
iPad waivers.
The only joy he has left in life is fucking over Keyshawn Davis and making him look like a dick in front of his hometown. Beyond that, it's just terrible. He just sits around eating edibles and taking X-Lax to try to stay regular. I don't know. It's a rough life for Bob.
Yeah, it certainly is. Meanwhile, over in Ghana, a couple of good ones for you here. Amir Khan was promoting, and nobody informed the public that Brandon Glanton wasn't fighting until they all realised that he wasn't fighting. And in the Ghana, I think it was the domestic belt match between a couple of guys, Alotti and I can't remember the other guy's name, Spencer Oliver with an epic line as we got into the 7th round. A great first half of the contest. It could all come down to this last 6 rounds now, says Spencer. So, yeah, I mean, I suppose that is factually correct from him there. And we do love a Ghana fight here. We are proponents of the prison canteen. And I have a bit of footage for you as well from a fight from a few months ago between Henry the Assassin Malm and Derek Show Some Love Quay. So just before this clip starts, Malm has picked Quay up and thrown him over the top rope and out the ring. They got themselves back together again, though. got back to fighting before corner man lobs in some water. Member of the crowd gets stuck in. The referee, the African Steve Willis, he's had enough. He bails out of there. The two fighters end up, joined by part of the crowd, doing a ceremonial dance. Only in Ghana. Let's have a look here.
I just watched.
Looks like a damn good fucking time, though.
It did, didn't
be honest with you. Everybody, I mean, everybody in the crowd was getting into it. That was a fucking hellacious show to go to, honestly, Steve.
Would you rather watch that or Harlem Eubank versus Jack Catterall?
I mean, they were having a damn good time, so you got to give them that.
There are definitely more plot twists in that video than there will be in fucking Eubank against fucking Catterall.
To be honest with you, we can actually explain why they were dancing, but that's not what we're here for. So we'll move on.
Nope. Good luck to the boys. Final couple now and we get out of here. It is a classic. The Phantom Man Bo versus Holyfield. Can't remember who made that
Amazing.
one, Matty, but that was a good job.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yep, good luck to them. Right, final one we have here. I mentioned earlier Pascal against Sislak. They were trying to rally the crowd, probably trying to rally Pascal, to be honest. And they brought in Sonia Zarbatani, who is a coach de vie, aka a life coach, and she was ramping everybody up in the crowd. I don't know if anybody saw that, but oh my goodness me, it wasn't enough, unfortunately, to get Jean
Pascal might have not won, but everybody that went to the show that night has now found themselves on a new and fulfilling career path.
Good old Sonia. Yeah, and that
Looks
one...
like a fucking female Undertaker. Don't see what's her deal like.
She's a life coach, Rob. She's there to rally her. Get you going.
Assistant. Didn't need to get rid of them. Like, I don't know. I don't trust her. Something's off.
Something's off indeed. Well, there was something off in that ring all night, to be honest with you. I don't know who the guy was in commentary, the analyst. He was called Paul somebody, and he was brilliant, man. We need this guy on DAZN dropping some truth bombs. The lead commentator was talking about Pascal's experience, listing all the names he's been in with, calling him a modern warrior. This guy was like, from the first 40 seconds, I told you before, this isn't going to end well for Jean Pascal. This is one fight too many. But this guy's a pure hater. Paul, whatever, maybe someone in the chat or in the comments will know who he is. But he was completely unimpressed with the proceedings, that after 2 rounds, he was asked to give a score. And he had the fight even, not because he had given one person a round each or had any 10-10s. He literally had so much disdain for them that he didn't give anybody any points. As we're about to listen now, this guy is a quality hater, man. Listen to this now.
He needs to come on.
That brings us to the end of round number 2. Paul, after 2 rounds, how do you have it?
Honestly, it's embarrassing, but well, not embarrassing, but I mean, for me, nothing more than a draw, because one.
So you have Pascal down by 2.
No, draw.
Okay.
Draw.
So you think you won that second round on the flurry at the very last moment? Yes.
No. He was losing the round, but then it's quite equal. You know, like they haven't done anything to impress me much.
That guy smokes more weed than I do. I let him do it on the job, son of a bitch.
You gotta love that honesty, man. We need this guy on DAZN, Matty. He's like, nah, man, I ain't giving anybody the round. No points to anybody. They haven't impressed me.
I don't know. Maybe that's what we really need, is people who don't try to hype it up and they admit what it is. Like, yeah, let's go.
I was just thinking, can you get paid for this? Like, this is fucking outstanding work. This is that you can get paid for this shit. Like,
well, he's gonna be pissed if put him on the Eubank card
DAZN Canada.
In the aftermath, though, he was trying to insinuate that Pascal had to keep fighting because he was like short of money or something. This guy gives 0 fucks. Why does he keep fighting for, Paul? Well, I think I know.
But he's right, isn't he? He's fucking right. Like you said, that Frotch fight, and Pascal was on the same night that Amir Khan fought Oisin Fagan. Because I was in the XL in London watching it. So that has to be fucking 2006, wasn't it?
8 or 9.
2008. Maybe 2008. Yeah, 2008. Fuck me, like, we're 2025 here. Why does he keep fighting? I'm on this fucking. I'm on the train with this guy. Like,
yep, a bit of Paul.
No, he won't be fighting anymore. I don't think.
Well, I don't know so much, to be honest with you. Who knows?
He'll probably transition to bare knuckle.
Oh yeah, you're right, Matty. That's what they do, isn't it? That's just the
thing. Shane Mosley on a Shane Mosley self-promoted card, won't he?
Whenever you washed up, like Malinage, he's another one. 44, can't punch, series of hand injuries. What is the next thing that I should do with myself? Go punch someone without gloves on?
Malinage's coming back though. He's fighting another one.
Yeah, exactly. In bare knuckle.
Is he?
Yeah.
He is.
Crazy. Right, we'll nominate him. Maybe it's in the Devonish. I know that I sort of caught you boys out, so they might not have any nominations. But if anybody does, Rob, I don't know if you got anything you want to throw in there.
No, but I was just thinking that's a big step down now for Paulie Malignaggi, because the last I heard of him, he was in Waterford commenting for Pro Box TV, him and Algeria, like, so fucking, who knows what's next for Paulie Malignaggi. He goes from Waterford to bare knuckle. I don't know if there's a fucking correlation in there, but Jesus Christ, like, what are we doing here, Paulie? Like, we certainly know where the balls are with Paulie anyway. He has balls, that's for sure. He has, I don't know if he has brains, but he has balls.
No, exactly. That's a
Great,
good point.
a great analyst, by the way. Absolutely great. And great to see the return of Max Kellerman in this fucking Canelo Crawford build up.
Agreed.
Just the way he talks about a fight, like the way he's been missing so long, for his presence has been missing properly in the sport for so long. It's part, I'm not saying it's part of the reason of the decline for boxing, but even on a night where the fights are a bit shit, Kellerman will give you some kind of something to give it to, you know, to, oh, I didn't know that or whatever. You know what I mean? He gives you,
He
some kind of
actually
jewel,
knows
like,
the sport, like, intimately. He
knows
loves
the
it.
sport
Yeah.
backwards. And he'll give you a good, like, if anyone ever pulls him, like any of these YouTube guys ever pull him and they ask him like a historical, this guy versus that guy, he's second to none. So brilliant to see Max Kellerman back. No,
Think about it. Kriegel was his
the quarter
replacement.
contention. Yeah, just a
Kriegel was
shithead. Like,
I was saying, think how fucking bad Kriegel is compared to him. It's not even a comparison.
Kriegel's just a boring shithead, isn't he? Like,
yeah.
Whereas fucking Max Kellerman's a more exciting shithead. But no, he's good value. Like, brilliant to hear him back. And really was like, even just when they're talking about having him involved in a fight of this scale, he's not forgetting like the fabric of boxing. So he's talking about, like, he's comparing the Crawford Canelo on Netflix thing with Leon Spinks versus Ali for terrestrial buys and stuff. Just shit that you just wouldn't get that off Mark Kriegel. Like,
Yep. Good to see Max Kellerman back.
Kriegel is
Matty.
Yeah.
Kriegel's what?
Yeah, I got
What is he,
nothing.
Matty? Come on, let's be kind. Or say nothing.
I've got nothing. I won't even say anything bad about Kriegel. I'll even be nice about Kriegel. But yeah, I've got nothing. There's
nice,
so
Matty.
many. There's so many. What? I didn't earn a feeding the ducks this time.
I thought for nostalgia, man. Kellerman's back. Wellington's back. Feeding the ducks is back.
All right. Then.
Patterson's back. We had us all back
Patterson's
tonight.
back. Flip me, yeah, exactly. Morris, Smido, Lowback, Donny. We've heard them all.
Fuck Ricky Hatton, he's a fucking cunt.
Oh, the Alex Morris one I'm going to have to find is after, was it Leeds? Josh Warrington fought in Leeds, and he used to have to think about Leeds, didn't he? And he says they could put a bag of shit on a stick, and Warrington would punch it in the middle of the ring, and it would all be spraying all over the crowd, and they would be like, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.
That's some high quality local shit talk right there. I like that. You know, we just don't have those local rivalries here in the United States. That's what we're really missing. So we don't get the chance to
That's
make
what I miss as well, Aussie, because we had a diverse panel, even though everyone's UK and Ireland. So we had like Steve's up the north, I'm down the south, we had Andy up in Scotland, Aussie in the north of England, and Smitho kind of Nottingham, and then we'd have like the occasion that we'd London guys on and that, but it's just a different, like Aussie when he used to go on his rants about Dave Allen, it's just that fucking accent made him all 100 times funnier. Like, when he found out about Big John Fisher, his fucking outrage for he hates fat people, like, don't he? He'd be going on these mad ones if the fighters were over, and every description was like chippy tits.
An absolute fucking state.
Yes, look at the state of it with his chippy tits.
If you've ever seen the episode of Family Guy where Lois's brother is let out of the insane asylum, he starts strangling fat people. Like, I've always assumed if Ozzy like went off the handle, that's kind of how.
If you can strangle anyone, is that what you're saying, Matty?
What's that? No, I'm just saying he'd go around offing fat people. And it's just like, if he ever went off the handle, you know, I just think that's what would occur. And I mean, yeah, the savings to your NHS would be substantial, but you have to think about the families.
Ozzy's a sadist, though. He does it to himself. He does be watching the fucking 500-pound man and the doctor, and I don't know that show on TLC. Like
He's
the
just torturing himself.
600-pound life and all that stuff.
Yeah, my 600-pound life and all. The size of this guy.
Oh dear. Right, let's go through them very quickly, and then we'll make our choices, and then I will get out of here. So we've got Bayside Boxing going in on Eddie Hearn. Not against that. We've got Conor Benn turned into the figurine. We've got Conor against Boots. We've got the Bosch man off to a bad start already in marital life. We've got Dazed and Confused, but not out of there in the reign of Ghana. We've got Benghazi, Libya, naturally, the next home of big fights. We've got Bomac and Keyshawn struggling to make the weight. What's next for Dave Allen, they ask. We asked that too. We've got Puritan pulling out with a sneeze was Huey Fury. We've got the Galactic Conference. There's Joe Joyce again. And a shout out to JP. I wonder who that could be. And we've got Rick Glazer sharing his life knowledge. We've got Damo as well, dropping in the posters. We've got Fabio Wardley outed as a United fan and then locked back in the mega shed. We've got Ryan Garcia sending messages to Oscar. We had the fun in Ghana, of course, with the Amir Khan show. We had Malm versus Quay and the dancing at the end. That was good value. Sonia Zarbatani, the life coach, and our hater at the end there, Paul, big fan of him. And Holly Holm as well, an honourable mention. We had Bob Allen roasting Colin McGuigan as well. Nice quarterly mix there, Rob. We had a few laughs along the way. Who's got your vote this week? Rob, who
the Holly Holm one is pretty funny. Like, I'm not saying she looks Irish in that clip, but like you could easily see her at like 20 to 8 on the Centre. You know what I mean? With like 3 kids and she's trying to get the lunch for the week. Like, you know what I mean? She's looking stressed out. This one's fucking... This is like the remake of the fucking Paul Bearer and The Undertaker, isn't it? Like the 2024 version of it, like, or something. I don't... That's good too. I like this guy too. I'm on board with this guy. The fact that Joe Joyce has gone to a fucking some kind of fucking alien convention fucking makes more sense than ever, don't it? Like...
Oh dear.
The truth is out there, folks.
Who's getting it then, Rob? Joe Joyce for you?
What do you reckon he thinks about the Rendlesham fucking UFO mystery sim?
Oh, he's bound to be into all that, isn't he?
Let's hope so. What's the name of that convention again, Steve?
It's a good question, actually. I can't remember.
It's the Intergalactic fucking Another Dimension convention.
Battlestar Galactica 20.
It's the Galactic Spiritual Informers connection. So they're informers, the supergrasses of the alien world.
Where's the? I don't get where the spirit. I thought it was like a church when you said spiritual, like a religious.
No,
church.
This is dropping the fucking truth bombs about what's happening in our skies.
Yeah.
And this fella probably be able to tell us about what happened to me that night during COVID when the fucking UFO flew over my head when I was on the pod. He seems like he knows the answers, this guy. He looks reputable.
Well, if he doesn't know the answers, Rob, I don't know who does.
Exactly. If you have a fucking helmet like this and they don't give you that for nothing, that's definitely he hasn't made that himself.
And the microphone matches too.
Yep, and the gloves.
3 yellow buttons on the suit as well. I don't know what that's about. That's some fucking intergalactic fucking shit that is. Like.
He's a captain.
Yeah, JP sounds like he knows what's going on. Money, let's get him in. Yeah, JP is my man. This guy.
Yeah, JJ, Joe Joyce, and JP for Rob. Who are you going for, Matty?
Ryan Garcia, easily.
Oh, Ryan Garcia, yeah. Are you not buying his new turn in life?
Which turn? Most recent one?
He turned to Jesus?
No, God, I thought he was into Jesus last year when he was fucking...
He's always into Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like him, so I'm going Ryan Garcia.
Needs to invest in Jesus and Grammarly, give him that, although he's probably wasted when he wrote that out, to be fair.
He needs to invest in fucking going to a cabin in the woods and getting away from fucking electronics for a fucking...
Turning off the electricity.
Yeah, like the worst thing that can happen is he gets cabin fever and fucking it comes to its most predictable conclusion. But, maybe he clears his head and comes out better. We'll see.
There's one for you, Justin. Damo says JP has spent many a session in the front row of the Devonish. That's why he wears that Stormtrooper hat.
He could dance.
Christ.
I hope it's white clean.
Hey, your helmet is stuck to the floor. No, actually, the floor is stuck to the helmet.
Oh dear. Jonathan Saul's enjoying it anyway. You should listen to the episode 200, 200 episodes ago or whatever it was, Jonathan, man. You'd enjoy the Bellew of the week. What are you going for, Justin?
Well, I like the dumbass at the wedding, but I think JP's got me hooked.
Oh, JP.
So I'm going to go with JP.
Dragged him in. He's erased his memory. There he is. Oh, that's not JP. That's a picture of the stage.
That's some role play on the wedding night, isn't it? That's some role playing John Fisher on the wedding night. That's fucking. It's like, oh, talk dirty to me. He's like, oh, fuck it, can't I? Egg fried rice, duck fried rice, fucking pork fried rice, fucking. Fucking hell, man.
You even got the gloves so you can't see the skin color, so that you don't give nothing away.
The UV light on that room was throwing up some results.
Oh man, yeah, right.
Prawn bowls, chicken bowls, fish bowls.
Oh, he's even doing the hand. Look, who wants a fucking burger?
He's doing Boston. Look at that.
Look at it. Oh no. Long suffering. The next Charlotte, the long suffering wife. Anyway, yeah, let's get this over with. Congratulations, Joe Joyce, JP, and the rest of the, I will remember this yet, Galactic Spiritual Informers Connection. You are the Bellew of the quarter for episode 624, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 624. Thanks, Matty. We had a good laugh, didn't we?
You got it. And it was a good chat. I really appreciate everybody for coming on today. Even the comment section was lively. Des was on here earlier with us. I'd like to thank Rob, Steve, and Justin. We'll be back here next week to preview Shiraz versus Berlanga and Zepeda versus Stevenson. Really looking forward to that card. I've been your host, Matt DiGianardo. You folks have yourselves a fantastic week ahead, and we'll see you next Sunday.
We'll never forget.
I think that's good happening.
Go to and move!
We want to be honest, yeah?
Crying like a little bitch. I've never met a fucking swank that can fight me.
I fell asleep.
You're a fucking bum, you're a fucking asshole.
Grumpo fucking Steltskin.
But allegedly, Oscar Rivas has failed a test.
7 year ain't. I will fucking smash fucking you.
I hope you fucking die.
Be safe.
I love boxing sounds. As simple as that.